Yo, yo. Hello?
They told him to stop blocking people on social media, and he said, fuck that. I'll block you. I quit.
Is that how it went down?
That's how it went down.
I'm gonna say there's a possibility that there were disagreements in a boardroom about perhaps, let's say, the future of Bayonetta. Maybe there was we should zig, and then he was like, nah, we zagging, bro. We committed to zagging, and then maybe there was a little bit of a but there's a feedback that really wants it to zig, and he's like, but I want it to zag, and then there was perhaps a disconnect on that. I could see that being possible,
Yeah, I read the statement, and I don't think Platinum's gonna be doing well in the near future.
I think there's also, so here's my other tinfoil is like, do we see fucking Kamiya walking into a Capcom office?
Oh my god! Oh my god!
As a free agent all these years later?
No, I see him doing like a little indie studio.
I see that too. But could you imagine just being like, you know what? I always wanted to do more Beautiful Joe and Okami officially, so fuck it. Even though, but the thing is they're gonna be like, okay, that's fine. Put the collar on, and he'll be like, "You."
That's not what it would be like. It would be like, "Who are you?"
It's a new group of people, but maybe
it's been a long time.
But that's the one reason why I think that is like that insane possibility suddenly sounds a little bit more possible, is because everyone and everything that like was around back then, especially the people that he probably would have hated, are no longer there.
They're dead. They all died.
So as a new company, he could walk back in and be like, all right, time to pick back up. Like, it'd be wild.
Yeah.
But more than likely, like indie thing, indie jam.
My tinfoil hat thing is Platinum being like, we're going all in on gas, and Kamiya's like, that sounds like shit.
I mean, that...
And because they've said they're going to go all in on gas.
They said they're going in on owning their own IPs as well, right? Like, pushing their own stuff. An argument about the future certainly feels like the thing that would lead for him and Inaba to go their separate ways on this. I think as well, like, as far as we knew, GG was the only thing on the slate, right? That he was doing the director plus story on, I think, because usually
and he was doing like,
he supervises a bunch. He was
that's what he's been doing for since 2019. He's been a supervising director.
There hasn't been a ton that's been like, hands-on, ground up for a while. So I think perhaps some of that and and maybe even just the games I want to make are not compatible with the direction you want to go. Yeah, type of vibe.
I mean, here comes the new fun headcanon in which he's supervising somebody, and he goes, "You know what you should fucking do, right? You should put a fucking Space Harrier level in this." And they were like, "Would you shut the fuck up?" And he's like, "I can't take this fucking disrespect, sir. Every time I have an idea, someone tells me to shut up."
Sir, this is Mario Tennis. What are you talking about? Yeah. Everyone should wear glasses. You know what you should do? Peach and Daisy.
Favorite image of him as supervising director is just like the same 6 ideas just on every single situation. Like, what if you use the analog stick to make a line, and then you drew it around them? Wouldn't that be fucking crazy?
That son of a bitch has no range, but you know what? Neither do we. So, hey, I think
somebody in the chat just pointed out, like, yeah, hey, Yoko Taro, what do you think the big gimmick should be for the game? I think when the game ends, it should keep going.
It should keep going, yeah.
And then it'll delete your save file.
Crazy. Yeah. I think God, it's like at the end of the day, man, just like maybe I feel like deep down he has a game design that involves him just fighting Twitter. Like I feel like he has a full fleshed out world of him just fighting comments as a game design that he wants to see made somewhere.
It's a bummer because you say that, and I'm thinking of a Project GG was supposed to be like basically Ultraman, right? That was the idea, and I had this idea that we've seen a little bit in other games that I thought that Kamiya would be perfect for, which is Ultraman or GG, whatever the fuck, Platinum Man save the city. But then Platinum Man has to like handle the social media blowback of like he stepped on that diner that people liked during the fight. And it's just constant social media garbage. But I saved the city. Yeah, but
it would be like you'd build up your reputation. People would you could retweet whenever someone says something nice, right? Obviously, the most powerful move in the game is the ultimate defense block. Right, and that would become more and more of a thing that levels up as you go, and you've got one model that you follow at all times, and you just and you gotta just see what's going on there every once in a while. I could see it. There's a whole game to be made. But really, I think when you look back on obviously the story we're talking about is Kamiya's leaving Platinum was announced like an hour or two ago. At the end of the day, you look back on that career so far. He's not retiring. He's going to keep making games, he said. Not batting 1,000.
No.
But he's batting over 500.
Yes.
And that's pretty fucking good.
It's he's got the same thing going on that Yoko Taro does, in which I get the very strong impression that he's the kind of creator that needs a devil on his shoulder to say, the devil producer essentially, to be like, fucking stop it. No, don't like
the collar.
Like
the collar, the chains.
Yeah. I always think about Suda 51, and I think about No More Heroes 2, and how No More Heroes 2 is incredible, and how my favorite boss fight in that game is against Margaret Moonlight, has the fantastic song and all that. But like before that is the insanely long parking lot fight in the supermarket. That's like 15 minutes of just fighting guys endlessly. And I remember reading an interview with Suda, and it's like, oh yeah, that fight's so long so that you really feel the emotions of like the endless drudgery of daily life, and like
the grind.
And like, don't make it bad on purpose, Suda.
Well,
you're fucking crazy.
The whole talk about the side jobs in the first game and stuff, the boringness that you want to get back to the exciting hero life or fight assassin life and stuff is deliberately boring. And it's like, no, we can find other ways to do this. You're
crazy.
I want to say Shenmue was built entirely on that philosophy. The excitement of working a day job is, you're going to feel more immersed with the character when you realize how depressing and shitty his days are.
I feel like the only like video game auteur or whatever that you would call them that isn't like that is Kojima. And it's like the only thing that comes down on high is like the platform holder being like, you can't do that.
See, Kojima does it too, though. But the thing is that Kojima was like, you're going to be a fucking teamster. And that's what you're going to do here. And that is to some people, that is making it shitty on purpose. But if you happen to have that little thing that's like, that's a satisfying thing to deliver to that place. And if you happen to enjoy that, it's actually quite fulfilling.
Think about Death Stranding a lot.
Building out the road and then traveling to it and getting people their packages is a unique way to have fun, and it's not for everybody, and it's not for the average person looking to play the latest Kojima like fucking bomb smash hit. But
I feel like Death Stranding is
AAA commitment,
the most real video game that's ever existed. because I feel like it's the only video game ever made in which the people making it didn't have to think about money even once. Like, hey, what do you want to make? This stupid bullshit. And Sony just went, yeah, okay, as long as your name is on it.
And
we'll let you do anything. Like, there is no mass market consideration in Death Stranding at all.
And the irony is that for what the game ended up being, it could have been a fucking Kickstarter budget game.
Oh, yeah.
It did not have to be that much, that quadruple A to execute. You know, like a ton of the model quality, the actors they hired.
Did you really need a bunch of really high-end talented actors? Did you need to scan in Del Toro?
You know?
Really?
Gourd side missions with full lore details. Like, all you really needed was, here's how the enemies work, and here's the creepiness of the system whenever it starts raining.
Bennett could have made that game.
Absolutely. It really didn't. The entire BB go in your shower fucking system, like bunkering.
Steps. Baby Steps is the Kickstarter looking version of what Death Stranding could have been.
Mm-hmm. It could have been an isometric view with like fucking pixel art SimCity, even like it could have been so stripped down for what it was in the end, you know. But he loves Hollywood. He loves it. He needs it. Anyway, yeah. So we'll see what happens. Again, I feel like even in this like Platinum situation where like we left Capcom to do whatever we want, and now Platinum has kind of become something else, and he's probably thinking, well, now I need to leave in order to do what I want,
Yeah.
But I think let's look to see, because they made their statement, right? And not much information besides, hey, thanks for all the time, the good times, and it's something unpredictable, but in the end, it's right. Hope you had the time of your life. Let's see what they announce. The timing of this too was right at Tokyo Game Show, so I don't think that we've heard anything Platinum related.
I feel like Platinum's tagline is possibly becoming incredibly unfortunate, which is Platinum never loses its luster.
It's well, I think what it is it's starting to look like other companies that hit and miss pretty frequently. I want to say most of the hits were, of course, way back when, and yeah, the ability to not make a ton of cash will force desperate decisions out, and some of those are going to be like, let's lean into games as a service, which obviously I want to say the same people working there would have balked at having that conversation with themselves in the past, but when the when the lights are fucking flickering, they start looking at shit like that like it's a good idea.
I feel like Platinum had the chance to really show everybody that that Capcom that they knew what the fuck they were doing, because, like, to those of you who are unaware, the history of Platinum is it's born primarily out of a studio called Clover at Capcom, which was like, hey, do you guys want to make your own games with whatever you want to do? Great, just make sure they make money. And then they made like the worst selling best games of all time. And then Capcom's like, how about you make some games that make some money? And they went, fuck you, we'll quit. We'll make our own studio and our games will make money. And then they proceeded to make like 40 games that make no money.
They made Seeds as their first step away. And
it's like, man, whatever Capcom people were responsible for the argument that caused everyone at Platinum to quit, like, yeah, they were right. They should make games that make money.
You should make games that make money. But you should also make Wonderful 101 and Bayonetta, because those are great. And I'm happy they exist.
I recently saw a really funny comment, which was digging back to like a really old conversation of ours about Platinum, in which you were describing like a mechanic from Wonderful 101, and like you were using it as an example to compare. And apparently I stopped you and went, Wooly, even amongst the audience of this podcast, no one has
knows
played
what you're talking about, right?
Like it is like the worst selling good game I have ever played in my life. It defies belief.
Yeah, it does represent the ultimate like fucking problem that is, you know, quality without mass appeal versus going all the way in and turning off the not turning off the quality but diluting it, right? Something we're probably going to touch on in a little bit here is Titanfall versus Apex Legends.
Yeah,
right? Trying to find your audience, trying to find something that's sustainable while also executing on you know, the best of what you can do. And of course, the fact that we like niche things doesn't help. That you're like, if they're making a niche thing, how do you combine the best of both worlds? I think
Yoko Taro and Platinum figured that out. It's like, hey,
I was about to say.
Do you want a niche action game about existentialism and the meaning of life? I don't know. What if the robots have fucking giant asses and they're in like BDSM gear and they got blindfolds on and then, are they gonna kiss?
Yeah. It's like I was just about to say, like, if you take on the role of like, okay, what property that people already care about / what world that has an appeal that we can step in and do the combat on, be that Nier, be that you know, a Rising type situation or anything like that. That's probably the best bet for it. When it doesn't go sour, a Cygames crossover to make a Grand Blue game, you know, and doing essentially what ArcSys does. In an ideal world, ArcSys would be the equivalent where they make their Guilty Gear, they make their Blaze Blue, and then they also do Dragon Ball for you know, whatever, Bandai and whatever Guns for Hire things. They do a really good job having that flavor.
Hey, is that Platinum game with Cygames that got turned out of, like, Relink that used to be Platinum but it's not Platinum anymore? That's coming out, right?
That is coming out. They showed a big trailer for it off not too long ago, so it is still happening. I think with the logo stripped and all that stuff. And yeah,
that's gonna be fucking weird to play, man.
You look at the combat in that and you're like, damn, that looks and seems to be the Platinum style of thing. Yeah,
I wonder if they built it on like the bones or if they just threw everything out.
There's also a weird thing in this, like when you're trying to look back on the timeline of the company and figure it out. There's a weird thing where you have like a Babylon's Fall situation where I was mistaken in how that game, you know, came about and switched up over the years and eventually flopped. But when you have something like a Scalebound, which never existed, you just have the hypothetical what it could have been in your brain, and you're like, but what if it was going to be bad? What if it was not going to be good? You know,
well,
what if the thing you saw in the trailer versus what ended up coming out was a huge discrepancy, and you know what I mean? And there's just a massive financial loss
with that specifically, because it's like a lot. This is assumption, so grain of salt, everyone. It feels like all the shit from Scalebound, like all the fight with your dragon shit, got ported directly into Bayo 3 with fight with your demon out. And it's like, I didn't particularly like Bayo 3 at the end of it, and that was with a character that I liked. So like maybe maybe like Scalebound is like a coin flip for me about whether or not it could have been good or not.
We'll never know, right? We'll never know. And like it because it's this mystery point, you can go, oh man, that could have been, or you could always reference it as like, yeah, that was the financial point where they just lost so much on the deal, but it would have, the alternate timeline temptation, if you want to headcanon it, is you can pretend that it would have been something, but like it might not have been,
And it's like, okay, so it got canceled, and you're like, well, maybe Microsoft was. Maybe whoever canceled Scalebound at Microsoft knew what they were doing. And then this week, part of the news is that we get a little peek at what the first party thinks of certain games and what they're worth. And you see Microsoft's internal documentation refer to Baldur's Gate 3 as a second run Stadia RPG and lowballing it. Oh yeah, $5 million to get that on Game Pass forever.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh man.
The level of off the mark behind the scenes continues to be fucking laughable and incredible. There's a whole bit there.
It was wild watching Larian and Microsoft's like PR people try and salvage what a mean statement that was. I didn't see the follow-up. The Larian guy was like, listen, nobody knew this game was going to be a huge success. We all of us internally didn't know it was going to be that big because they're currently in the process of porting the fucking game to the Xbox and that everybody wants to be nice and do business. But it's like, there's so much shade there. It's so mean.
Again, a shitty internal email and or document not meant for the public eye, and now you've got to walk back the truth of how you feel. Anyway, we'll see all of these questions and more to be answered in the future, as you know. We'll see whatever gets announced. If he's not starting something new, then he'll get picked up elsewhere. And I mean, the stuff like Astral Chain comes out, and you're like, that's cool, and you like to see.
I really like Astral Chain. That's my favorite platinum game of the past couple of years.
But does that have the power to, like, you know what I mean, to carry?
No one cares.
No, that's it.
I care. You care. No one else.
And I mean, it probably would have had a bigger impact if it, you know, perhaps like was on every platform, for example. Yeah, that would help. Yeah. But it would only help so much. I think there's just a limited appeal, unfortunately, right? So,
dude, I would kill for Astral Chain on any other platform. Like that game running at a better resolution, a better frame rate. Oh, it'd be good.
Yeah, I think a potential outcome, you know, that obviously has been resisted for a long time too, depending on how things go, is like they could go for, if they take another couple hot ones, and to no success, to no avail, the buyout, right? The buyout by a Nintendo or the buyout by a Squeenix type of thing.
The Nintendo one seems to make the most sense, honestly.
Yeah, just this world of acquisitions that we are entering, right? Where fucking Microsoft is like, maybe we can buy Nintendo, and like, you know, just fishes eating fishes. I think.
Did we talk about that last week? Was that because I think that was part of the Microsoft internal documentation that was leaked?
Yeah, in the past week. I feel like we might have touched on it, but yeah.
But I feel like the Japanese government would not allow Microsoft to buy. No, like seriously, I feel like there would be like a stated national interest in not allowing an American company to own Nintendo. Like, I cannot possibly ever see that happening ever. And also, we have the story from a couple of years ago where Microsoft floated it before and they got laughed out of Nintendo's office.
There will be a monument erected of Yamauchi telling Balmer to lick his balls and put that in the town square right next to Hachiko in solid gold.
Like, Nintendo's 134 years old today. Like, that's an old company, and people are apparently very happy to work there. Like, I could never see it.
Yeah.
I could never see it.
But I said this before too, I also think there's that statement where Nintendo was like, we have the money to run, to operate at a loss for 42 years or some crazy thing like that. And it's like, back then, maybe. Now there's no fucking way, right? There's no way. And I really see them being like, the transition into being a Sega style software only company is not that far away, but they still continue to make the most. I think the comparison of the internal Microsoft,
they make the most profit.
They make the most profit based on their expenditures, right? Because
they make more profit by percent than Microsoft and Sony combined,
because they're making hardware at a loss, right?
Yeah, and it's like, good for Nintendo. Make the money.
That light's getting in my face. So yeah, it's curious to see how they're gonna go with this, and if the Switch 2 is like halfway towards a Steam Deck or even like the Asus ROG or whatever, you know what I mean? Like if it's just like not even approaching that
I would
level.
kill for a Switch 2 that's just backwards compatible. That's all I want.
Oh, I imagine that's definitely going to be the case. That'd be crazy if it weren't.
There's a bunch of Switch games that just I would like to have them run on a new hardware, please.
No, I definitely imagine. I mean, the libraries everyone has built on their games on their consoles now has like expanded to this insane amount. The idea of like it was always painful to drop it off in previous generations. Dropping it off now is like hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, and so it's insane to think of just like no, fuck you, digital library gone. Anyway, yeah, that is some wild shit, and yeah, I guess the Microsoft stuff did pop up
oh my God.
After last week, but
Kamiya is an unhinged man. I'm looking at his Twitter account. It's the funniest thing in the world. The Platinum Games announcement that he's leaving, followed by a couple of statements, and then a photo of his torn underwear as he's sitting on the toilet.
My pants are torn to a degree I've never seen before.
And then a photo of some alcohol going, cheers!
Rip, like... critical damage, catastrophic underwear rip.
Like the crotch is fully ripped out.
Dick and balls are hitting the pant, like right through. There is no protection. The one job the underwear is supposed to do is no longer possible.
What does he mean by this?
Oh my God, dude. Yeah. Who wants to hire? Anyone want to hire this guy? Attach that tweet to the resume. That's fucking crazy. Unhinged is the right word. Anyways, all that and more in a minute.
That's a man starting his own company.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a guy who's gonna go start interviewing.
No fucks given energy. All right, let's get through it. Gonna try to keep a sane length of podcast today, but I
absolutely.
Let's see. So, hey, how's about that Titanfall 2? Right?
I have played. So I think it's great that despite not colluding or discussing this even once, me and Wooly had the same idea for the same day. Which is, hey, let's just go back to Titanfall. Let's just go back to Titanfall.
We're currently allowed to play Titanfall. This is a blessing. Everybody get on it. Also, the game has been, again, giving itself away for the last couple of years, right? When you go back and you look at it and you're like, this thing is like $6, $4, depending on like where you're looking. And my God, does it instantly just tickle all the fucking right, nerves on the back of my neck, man.
I played more Titanfall than I did any other thing this entire week.
Yeah, I jumped in and I was like, there's a couple times where I was like, yeah, let me just brush up a little bit before. I wanted to play some Street Fighter, but I was like, let me just try to get my alternator game back up a little bit. And yeah, it comes back, and you just that feeling, that flow. Still absolutely dog shit at it, but man, there's moments though, and I feel like on the stream, showing Reggie that for the first time as well, he saw the how fucking sick the flow of that game is, and it's so unique compared to others. And like what the exact type of thing that like works for me, that gets me happy, is like, even though I'm fucking hanging off the bottom of that leaderboard, the ability to toss a grenade out up a roof to a blind spot that I can't see and fucking shoot it after tossing it and kill the guy that's up there, the ability to have a double ejection mid-air fucking like those moments.
I had the moment where me and another Titan killed each other and we both ejected, and we're just ejecting straight up, and then we are like face to face, like 2 feet from each other. And just like, ah! Like, oh my God.
Right.
Oh my God.
Taking out somebody with a fast Titanfall drop right on top of them. You know? Like, there's so many ways to just feel so good about what's going on. Like, I'm regularly putting myself at further risk to get in there to get the melee finisher, right? For that execution. Mm-hmm. Got one with, I think it was it might have been with Tone, I don't remember, but either way, it was like the execute, just like skeet shooting, pulling the pilot out, and like wild, you know, a Ronin, like basically anime slash one that was insane. There's so much happening, and
so
at no point
they put out a patch that those servers just work again properly.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what we're talking about.
There you go. And yeah, it's honestly, not only is it the most unique like first person shooter like game flow that I think of, and you know, I was kind of explaining this to at the time when we were going back in and playing it, how like it really doesn't feel like anything else in that stuff. This is not to dismiss the Tribe's obvious references every time we talk about how Tribes used to have tons of movement, but it's to say the switching into the robot and out of it, and how you don't feel like one is better than the other because they're both awesome. And
every time I'm on foot, I'm like, man, I can't do nothing against Titans. Every time I'm in a Titan, I'm like, oh, these fucking pilots. Oh, it's so annoying. Oh.
Exactly, right? And you're like, oh my God, they successfully balanced an asymmetrical design into the flow of the system and really made it feel good. And you get them just frequently enough that like by the middle to end of the match, there can be a 50-50 of pilots to Titans on the field. You know, some people want to be more pilot, some people want to be more Titan, and like that whole exchange of like 2 Titans rolling up with like 1 pilot around just to like peekaboo and fuck around, pull a battery out. There's all these little things to it that like.
I saw a guy in a game that I was playing. He had the good auto Titan upgrade, the one where your Titan actually fights well when out.
Yeah. And the AI
instead of getting in, he stayed out.
That's awesome.
To steal batteries.
That's awesome.
To feed to his auto Titan.
That's fucking cool. Okay, because I haven't fucked with that ability too much, because I know it says like it lets your auto Titan actually use its abilities as opposed to just the basics. You know, man, that's so sick, dude. Yeah. Now there's really, it's such a unique game flow, and that is kind of I hope in that brief look, people that weren't around hearing the entire Apex saga can understand like what we're missing and why, you know? There's moments like some of the best moments in Apex are like the moments in Titanfall where you're both running inside of a building, sliding past each other and getting a nice execution, or, oh shit, bop, 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 bop. You're right. You round a corner and snapshot, I believe, right, as the term. But just to finish the thought, those moments that are like the best ones in Apex, or getting a Kraber shot from a million miles away and taking someone out, represent like 15% of what's hype about Titanfall.
My best Apex match in terms of feels like my average Titanfall 2 match. Like, it makes me think of like, look at what they took from us. I'm like, when I'm grappling and I'm getting in a robot and I'm wall running and I'm double jumping and I just have Mastiff as a regular weapon instead of like a gold drop.
Yeah.
And I can shoot while sprinting with my shotgun, and it's
like they prepared a whole buffet with Titanfall 2 and then like took a couple of items and put them over here for Apex, and they're still really good, and that's fine, but man, do you just miss the full spectrum of it, you know?
I still don't understand why they didn't just directly transfer Titanfall's gameplay into a big map. They've talked about it, and the reasoning never made any sense. They're like, the skill ceiling would be too high. And
They said they could. I just remember them saying they couldn't make it work, but I don't know if they ever went into the
what's
details.
that fucking mean?
Right?
Like I'll tell you that if you had a Titanfall 2 style battle royale, then the person at the top of that leaderboard is going to be a Jedi. Like they're going to be just like,
but I mean,
unhittable.
I'm sure more than anyone they must have explored how to make this work. But the feeling and thought that they just never landed on any version of it that could seems really wild to me. Because yeah, like I whether the flow has to, whatever the flow has to change to be, it's like by losing the second half of that game, jumping on the Titan, jumping into the Titan, fighting the Titan on foot, being inside of it, feeling powerful, and then like having, and it's also a little bit of it too. Is like when you eventually your Titan blows the fuck up, right?
Yeah,
and then you
will.
And you exit that, and you have like a second chance back in that, to resume playing, as it were. That's also a really good feeling that I think, a battle royale could have definitely benefited from. But anyway, whatever the case was, they just couldn't pull it off, and here we are going back to it, and everyone can see right off the bat, like it just fucking rules.
There's a great video that I watched that I've been trying to find while we've been talking, and maybe someone in the chat or on social media can help me. It was somebody diving into what does it mean to play a quote-unquote dead game, and how dead can a multiplayer game actually get before it affects your ability to play it. Because I look at Titanfall and I'm like, 10,000 people online when I hop on to play on PC. And I look at that. Yeah, it does sound like Racevic, but I was trying to find it. I couldn't find it. And 10,000 is pretty low, right? Like, we're used to seeing hundreds of thousands, blah, blah, blah. And I hit matchmaking, and I want to play attrition, which is the main mode, and I got a match within 40 seconds. And then subsequent matchmaking was faster and faster and faster. And then I just played for 4 or 5 hours. So, yeah.
Yeah, I have. I had matches queue up in 15 to 20, and I've had matches sometimes where like I'm waiting 2 minutes. Like it's been up and down, but I haven't had anything like really, really, really like bad.
Yeah, because the fear is that you go, okay, I'm gonna play Titanfall 2, woo woo, and then you hit matchmaking and you're waiting like 10
minutes,
20 minutes, and. No, it just works. You get into matches quickly. You play tons of matches. I've regenerated another character.
I've
regenerated because I was able to play so many matches.
And while fucking and this is something too that's really unique, is the fact that you can say, hey, like, we're just going in on how fucking sick this multiplayer is. There's a single player that is absolutely stellar that surprisingly doesn't overlap 100% with multiplayer content. There's a ton of unique ass shit going on in a single player campaign there, where in most cases you'd look at the multiplayer and go, oh my god, that multiplayer is so good, no wonder the single player is ass, right? You'd either world tour it, or you'd Last of Us, is that a good comparison? I don't know. Whatever the equivalent.
No, the best comparison is like the old Call of Duty games, the ones that Respawn made, in which they had like really excellent campaigns and fantastic multiplayer, but they were completely different beasts.
Okay. I mean, just something where. But your expectation would almost be like one is amazing, therefore the other has to suffer. Games where they slap it in.
Dead Space.
Dead
Space
well,
2.
I was going to say BioShock multiplayer or Tomb Raider, right?
Hey, careful. Somebody's going to come out of the woodwork and be like, I love that fucking thing. That was my favorite.
I tested a bunch of Tomb Raider multiplayer. It was there.
It was there.
But no,
it was there.
But that's not the point. The point is fucking the fact that they made both incredible independently, and like it wasn't like when you play when I played Halo, right? I saw a lot of Halo's multiplayer I felt in like the kind of campaign.
Yeah. No, Halo has like a really close relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It's just instead of enemy players, it's enemies that are
Mm-hmm.
using more or less the same rules. Like elites in Halo single player have shields,
Right.
right? And they kind of function similarly.
And so that feels really close, where you're like, oh yeah, these are going hand in hand. Fair enough, fucking GoldenEye with its shit. But yeah, Titanfall has so much like stuff that's like unique to the single player that's incredible that you're like, oh man, this on its own is a fucking awesome proposition. So
I played a lot of first-person shooter campaigns, and like I don't feel comfortable saying it's the best one, but I can easily say that the Titanfall 2 campaign is like top 3 ever.
yeah, if that
Effect and Cause is the best level in a shooter of all time.
if that type of game were more frequent with first person shooters, I might be like way more in on the genre. I might just be obsessed with them
Yeah.
and go super hard if that was kind of like the average experience with it, But in any case, yeah, fuck man. What an awesome like, hey, servers work, cool. Everyone go enjoy,
To those who are asking, the level I mentioned, Effect and Cause, yes, that is the time travel one.
Mm-hmm.
That is the one. So good. Oh my god, I can't believe. And then they throw the mechanic away, and they're like, "We did the level. It's done."
Before the level ends, they throw it away to give you just a really cool set piece, and then we're out. We are out.
The video I was referring to is How Much Does Multiplayer Population Matter by Racevic.
Okay. Yeah. Man. Yeah. I'm thinking of too of how like there's a little thing as well where I have a special little tingle whenever something I like a lot ends up being something where they're like, oh, we know, trust us, it's special to us too. And that's why like in Metal Gear, right, when I was like, fuck, god damn it, the boss rules, and then like Kojima's like, I know, and then you get the way that story works out.
I'm gonna kind of obsess the story in that direction.
The longer we go, the more we fucking dip back in, and we're like, all right. But that initial point, post Snake Eater, when it was like, where are we gonna go from here? And like a big chunk of 4 is just like, yo, the boss though, and I was like, yes, thank you, right? So in Titanfall 1, obviously the fucking noob gun, whatever, the smart pistol was such a cool like fucking feeling bit, and then you get the fucking knife, and then you get Legion as my favorite of the Titans, and like all of that is dropped in at the climax of the fucking single player where the sear kit comes out and you finally get Legion, and I'm like, my god, they're making the high point of this the things I love the most, and the feeling of running through with the fucking smart pistol, like, unbelievable, man. The sear kit, dude. That's why.
So this is building up to a Titanfall 3 announcement because of the thing and the messages and the.
Let me try to time. I'm gonna try to tie my hoodie around like a straight jacket and just start rocking.
They're gonna do it. They're gonna do it. No.
And nothing hurts anymore. I can't. I don't feel. It can't hurt me. And you know what? Yeah. I enjoyed some Titanfall this week, and it's up and alive, and you can go play it, and that's cool.
It's great.
That's
good.
all. Let's take life in baby steps.
Tell you what, I had a bit of a jump scare loading in because I was like, oh, is there a CSB group on PC? And I'm like, oh, there is a CSB group. What is it? Oh, it's the Cumshot Brigade. Okay, I'm going to make a...
Wait, what? No, I found one that was Castle Super Beast.
On PS4 and on PC. The one you found on PC, I made that one last week.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yeah. Because you can search by tag. So you type in CSB, and when I searched last week, the number one most populated group on PC under CSB is the Cumshot Brigade, and I'm like, all right,
what are you?
All right, no, I'm gonna make the real one. Okay,
you afraid of a little cum, bro? You
I am. Yeah, I'll say afraid of a little cum.
What are you, Star Wars?
Didn't think that was gonna go there. But you're right. What, you talking about, Jatz?
You talking about Jatz music, bro?
Oh, you fucking cowards!
Oh my god. They finally, after years of just sticking with Jizz music, have finally said they've lost the battle. They've lost the cultural battle against Jizz, and now it's been retconned to be Jatz.
I refuse to abide by this name change. I won't do it.
Dude, but there's something to be said about fighting that fight for as long as possible, and like it has nothing to do with your IP at all, but the culture has decided that this word is going other places and there's nothing you can do about it. Like, imagine if you decided to start a company called Good Old Fashioned Country Cream Pies. And
all right.
and you sell delicious cream pies.
Yeah, you sell them.
Right? And every you get on your ox cart and you bring them down to the local grocery store, and then that builds up into a company, and now you got packaging and you're selling good old fashioned home country cream pies. And the world is moving its own direction. What are you, a humble farmer, to do? You know, you fight that fight for as long as you can, but at some point you got to rip your hat off and slap it on the ground and jump on it, because sorry, man, you're not winning this battle.
I always laughed. I always giggled. And now that they're changing it, I'm going to giggle more, because the thing that bothered me the most about Jizz music is how offhand and lame it is. What's it called? Space music. What's the name of music? Can I change a letter?
Jaws.
Yeah. Jews? No, that one's not good. No.
Not that one.
Jaws? No, that doesn't hit. Jizz, there we go. I nailed it. All right, moving on. Like, why does it even have to have a weird space name?
Sometimes you have to just lean into the bit. Sometimes. Disney will never, but sometimes you do. For example, the good old-fashioned country cream pie example as just given there. Excuse me. Are you familiar with
pot noodle? Not particularly.
Ramen noodles, right?
Yeah,
so,
sure.
Yeah, so in the British Office, the character Chris Finch, who's basically Sid's voice actor from FF16, at one
Ralph
point,
Ineson?
I don't know the full name, but yeah, but whatever, Finchy. He played the voice of Sid in Final Fantasy 16. Like at one point comes to the office and he says something to the effect of like, "Mate, you look like you've had a pot noodle and a wank," right? And that's like a big line that pops up and turns the slang "go have a pot noodle" for "go home and jerk off." Right?
Yeah. Okay. Good. Mm-hmm.
At which point the pot noodle ramen company just goes "fuck it" and makes a whole bunch of commercials leaning into the idea of going and making pot noodle at home, or getting caught slurping up your noodles in your bedroom, and everyone's like, "Hey, what are you doing in there?"
All right.
And like,
you
know you want it. And they go all the way in on their marketing, and the slang pot noodle for jerking off becomes their marketing campaign entirely.
Oh, somebody's sending me one already. God, you people, Asuna, you are too on top of this.
So you have to lean into the bit sometimes. It's the only way to win. You can't fight it. Yeah. That's it. That's the only way. Jatz music.
Fucking
out of here.
The name is terrible. It's awful. Like, it's such a minor thing.
And it doesn't help that the little Jatz players look like dicks.
Yeah.
Like,
well, part of the problem is like it's very easy to make something look like a dick. Kind of everything looks like dicks. If you look around, everything's just dicks.
Yeah, I guess. but
Nothing to be done, really.
but some things in Star Wars look more like dicks than others, you know?
Oh,
like,
you mean like everything cool in Star Wars?
I'm like,
Like all the
yes!
guns and the laser swords
and the helmets and the spaceships. Yes. Yeah. Like we can say, oh man, everything in life is dicks, but then Giger's like, right? So what are you blaming me for?
A lot. A lot, Giger. Stop it. I don't want my dick to fucking meld in with the wall and have a mouth.
Too late.
That's weird.
Too late. I even got the veins that connect to the other part.
As long as Snickers keeps its fucking dick vein, society will maintain.
What was that? I think was it a bit where it
was like a trap for
yeah, or like, no, wasn't the thing like if you see a Snickers without the dick vein, you think it's not gonna be as good?
Like it was some stupid shit post about Snickers removing the dick vein, and it caused a bunch of fucking right-wing Americans to put out like videos on their TV shows to be like, they're trying to steal your dick vein from your Snickers. The most fucking absurd shit in the world.
What a pure battle. What a noble cause. In any case,
even look at a Snickers anymore after that whole thing. It's such a dick vein. It's such a dick vein.
Absolutely. Enjoy it. Appreciate it. Lean in. Don't fear it, baby. Don't fear that shit. All the way in. There you go.
What else you been up to aside from Titanfall, man?
So took a brief look at RE4, sponsored.
Hey, I want to give you a massive thumbs up. I am thrilled to see you engaging in the age-old. Man, my partner on this couch is real anxious. Maybe if I just bark at them and scare the shit out of them, it'll be funny. And you were fucking right. That clip is so incredible because you can see your eyes look away and then the tiniest smirk show up on your face. And it's like 10 seconds of, oh, he's going to fucking do it. Oh, he's going to do it right now.
He's a nervous boy. The energy in the room was very, very tense. And, you know, like I told him, I'm like, hey, you get a free one now, right? So fucking use it, whatever, use it wisely. Do your thing. But yeah, little quick peek at the Resident Evil 4 remake. Shout outs to the bear traps. Shout outs to
you walked into a bunch of them, didn't you? It's
shout outs to the burning fucking cow. Shout outs to everything going on in that little introduction. And yeah, I remember that sequence being one where like there's a lot of ways to play it out, but like I guess I was kind of thinking back, and I was like, maybe like because my memories of it are from a million years ago, but I feel like that sequence was like you can stall for time once you kind of, I guess, are aware that stalling for time is what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Versus if you're trying to think about this, like, how do I solve this problem and get out of here because I clearly can't handle it because I'm getting overwhelmed, which is the mentality you need to get overwhelmed. Yeah. And every corner you look at, you're fucking surrounded. And it played out perfectly.
I think, I'm not certain, but I think like if you kill a certain percentage of enemies, you can kick it forward without waiting up the clock.
Okay.
But it's a bunch. It's like it's like 30 or something high.
And you know, I mean, look, everyone in a unfamiliar panic situation is going to be door blind here and there, you know? So it's just it's great. It's great. The game is trying to scare you, and boy does it. Yeah, this is a fun little quick detour there. So that was a good one. Go check it out on the channel if you haven't already.
Before you move on, I should mention I played Separate Ways this week. Capcom sent me a code, so #sponsored. Thanks for the code, Capcom. So Separate Ways is Ada's campaign that takes place. I mean, it's a DLC that you'd play after the main campaign, and it loops in and out. The big
$10,
thing
right?
is, yeah, the big thing is that Ada has a grappling hook. So when you stagger somebody and want to melee them, you can melee them from like 15 feet away. She'll just grapple them and just do the kick, like just jump over, which makes her way better than Leon.
I believe the correct terminology is grappling gun, Pat.
Grappling gun. It's really good. It's very obvious that a lot of classic RE4 remake, RE4 stuff that wasn't in the remake was then shifted to Ada's campaign. So there's a boss that shows up in Ada's campaign that people are like, "Huh, well, how come they're not there in the main campaign?" It's like, oh, because it was given to Ada. Where's the laser hallway? Oh, it was given to Ada. That kind of thing. It's great. It is way better than the original Separate Ways campaign, which is terrible. That was the PS2 exclusive campaign that later on came out. But yeah, no, this one's really good. There's only one thing about it that's not excellent, and that is the actress playing Ada is once again back, and she is trying her best, and she is reading those words off that script to the other characters.
How long is it?
I couldn't finish it in one stream, so I will say it is 6 to 7
versus the original, which was just a little like epilogue, right?
It's like 4 hours, and it was bad.
Okay.
So it's pretty beefy for a $10 DLC. It's good too.
Nice.
I'll be finishing it later this week.
And then it came.
Somebody pointed out it's longer than Resident Evil 3 Remake.
Oh my god, the base game. Jesus Christ.
I beat Resident Evil 3 Remake in one sitting on stream. I just sat down and beat it.
Both sides?
On hard. There's no sides on RE3 Remake.
Oh.
And I beat it on hard. I sat down night of release for RE3 Remake and put it on hard mode and beat it in one go.
Jesus Christ. Wow. Okay.
It's the only game that I have ever done that with in my whole career.
Well, that puts the value proposition in place then for this versus the disappointment beforehand. And then there was also updates to Mercenaries, right?
Yeah, Leon's there's more characters, there's more levels, but more importantly, Leon's RPD outfit is now the reward for S++ing every Mercenaries map. So his RPD outfit is finally back in the game. Hooray!
Nice. Yeah. So yeah, no, that was a fun little romp, and definitely like I'm like, yeah, I think like in a lot of cases, well, anything survival horror related. I mean, there's a bunch of shit I haven't played. There's a bunch of shit he hasn't played, and it was a fun little thing that makes me go, okay, we can come take a look in this direction anytime we need to in the future.
The RE4 remake is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Giving a thumbs up to the camera.
Also, yeah, so actually sat down and jumped in on MK1 this week. Starting from not knowing a ton, picking it up, seeing what's going on here. Okay, so really glaring oversights, like right up top. The plan, as per usual, is to kind of like jump in, mess around, hit some buttons, do some matches, and then eventually jump online. But no lobbies right off the bat is wild. It's a really bad oversight because the only way to play people is to queue up randomly in casual or ranked, or to go private to your friends list and add people on your friends list. But you could not just play a match with like somebody watching on stream, for example, or someone else in the community without having them directly on your friends list.
That's really bad. That's really bad.
Real bad oversight, because I'm like, I'm not going to sit here and add everybody to my friends list to play with today.
So that I can delete them afterwards so they can't look at what games I'm playing because they're gross freaks.
It just, that's not going down. And then like, yeah, no matter how hard I looked, I couldn't see anything. Now, if I was on PC, I guess I could have done like a parsec style situation.
Oh, that's still very awkward. I didn't know about this. That's really bad.
No lobbies, you know. Other previous MKs had lobbies, so it's maybe it'll come in a later update, but it seems like a really bad oversight, and like that's a bummer because I didn't, you know, we couldn't experience, like, I'm like, okay, the last part of this is like, show me what, you know, this game is supposed to look like show me anyone who plays it, come jump in, let's go on, you know. So yeah, no real ability to play with the community, and then that got me kind of thinking, I guess, that like it is there's some games that are like depending on the genre, some competitive genres have like 3 layers of like online play, right? They have friends, private, they have community, and then they have raw open public, you know.
Yeah,
and
that's how I would assume it to be done on most multiplayer games of any kind, honestly.
Yeah, and that middle area is pretty important. Like old multiplayer games didn't have it, but now we've come, you know, quite a long way to the point where it's like people who want to play together that are from the same community but aren't necessarily, again, on each other's friends list entirely.
Oh, you mean like how Titanfall, you can just run private matches in the easiest way I've ever experienced in a game in my life?
What lobby do you want to join? Do you want to invite the entire lobby to play with you? It's that simple, you know?
I couldn't believe how easy it was to run match-made and custom games with people inside the network in Titanfall 2. It's the best party/group/community system in any game I've ever played.
I fucking wish that were possible elsewhere. Also, even just like any in Street Fighter 6, right? The CFN system, when it's like, I remember when CFN first got introduced and like was like held together with sticks and fucking twine, and like now it's like, oh yeah, you have a comprehensive way to go search people, find people, watch replays, add them or don't, challenge them, jump in the room. You know what I mean? There's all these ways to interact with people that are like looking for matches that are not just the open, most raw, random search, and also the person that is like directly on your friends list. You know, that middle step is really good and really important. So yeah, man, that was a big bummer, definitely. You know, and then beyond that, I mean, yeah, it's Mortal Kombat. It was doing its stuff. And
what's the unlock situation like?
So Havoc is locked by default, so you have to go through story mode to get Havoc.
Just Havoc?
As far as playable characters go, it seemed to be that the character select screen was only missing him.
Havoc is the like, really?
Yeah. There's Shang Tsung, who you buy $10, and then there's the combat pack with the 5 characters you buy $50. And
wait, what? Whoa! Back up!
Oh man.
Who?
So
is in the combat? What the?
Okay. So playable characters. I'm not talking about cameos yet. Havoc you unlock in the story, and then Shang Tsung is a separate DLC, and then there's
the most important fucking character in the whole game.
And then there's a combat pack with all the superheroes and the tie-ins.
That's the DLC thing.
The Omni-Man, Takeda, etc.
Right.
The pack of 5, and that's a $50 purchase.
That's
wild, absolutely wild.
Hey, I want to put my personal distaste for the gameplay of Mortal Kombat aside. That seems ridiculous.
The cost of a full game for just that. And I'm looking back on the controversy that was half the roster of BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle being sold, and it was like, what was it? Was it 30 or 25?
What was a third of the roster in Cross Tekken? Was that like 15?
I mean, it's insane. And then cameos. So the cameos that you unlock in the story, there seems to be
assists, right?
The assists, exactly. The assists, there seems to be maybe like 6 or 7 on the bottom row that are unlockable, with like maybe, if I remember, maybe like 10 are already there. And then you get cameos that are going to come out in the future as well with the DLC packs. But my God, man, the fucking pricing is wild. But it's also the WB ass pricing of, we know who this appeals to. We know we can get you now. We know we're not going to get you later, you know? And that's how we're going to push the game out. And I think it's kind of clear too, like they're aware that like Mortal Kombat, the best-selling fighting game, is really like, it's not made for the competitive or community really. In, you know, when they roll this out, that stuff might come later once the very huge casual market has stopped playing and the only people left are the community. Then they might start rolling out features like this and putting stuff into play and putting out like a tour, and you know, like, let's handle the people that are still around that support it. But that initial
I don't know,
push,
man. Having the cost for the characters being this high in a game that doesn't have lobbies just seems backwards.
But my point is though, is that like, but they know that like, yo, no, new Mortal Kombat, bunch of fatalities, yada yada, casual appeal, wild shit. It's up, it's broad, it's fucking broad. So
yeah, it's closer to Smash Bros than it is to Street Fighter in terms of mass appeal.
Yeah, so no, my point is that they're getting that shit in now while they can bilk the fuck out of everybody, because they know that this audience is not going to stick around for a long time. They're getting theirs, and they're charging you the cost of a game for the DLC after you bought the full game. It's fucking insane, you know? What am I kidding myself about? I'm like, this is WB being fucking insane, ridiculous with it. So I don't think I don't know if there's ever been a worse bang for buck, like, character DLC pack whatever ratio ever.
That's pretty bad.
And
yeah, how many characters are in the standard roster?
It's three sections of 6 or 8, maybe.
People are saying 23, 24, 24.
Yeah, I want to say 8, 16.
Okay.
Probably about that.
Are you talking Canadian dollars here?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 100 divided by 24 is equal to $4 a character versus 50 divided by 5 is $10 a character. So those DLC characters are worth more than twice as much as the standard roster.
Shang Tsung on his own was $9.99.
That's so fucking ridiculous. I have to say, like, Mortal Kombat picking like the character that everyone wants the most, like Shao Kahn or Shang Tsung or whoever, to be the DLC. You gotta buy. It's so gross.
Yeah.
M. Bison only on pre-order. Like, shut up.
And, well, here, hold on. I see Saldus just said 0 of them are... Yeah, well, hold on. Isn't Ashura a new character for MK1?
No, she's from MK Deception.
She's from Deception as well. Okay, then
she had a hat.
Then not a single character is new. They're
all
all
I was talking about this on social media a little bit ago, and I was like, wow, the Mortal Kombat 1 storyline of a completely new universe with a completely new timeline, and every character has a different backstory to end up with a roster of 0
it's
new
funny,
characters.
It's funny because, like, in Tekken, you really feel it when there's no new characters, because of, like, you know, they pretty much carry themselves forward the same way across the franchise as each new number iterates and it replaces the last one. But in Mortal Kombat, like, they're basically reinventing garbage. You know what I mean?
I'm torn. So I made fun of that, and then I thought more about it, and it's like I'm kind of torn because I've seen new Havoc a million times better than old Havoc.
They're reinventing, like, garbage.
Functionally
new. So
that's it's the scope of what the story says it is so broad. It just makes Liu Kang look so uncreative. It makes Liu Kang look so like Liu Kang. You remade a whole universe, and Shang Tsung still turned out evil.
So I don't know the story, and I'm legit curious to see like what goes down and how or whatever. But yeah, the idea off the bat that, you know, the intro puts out there is everyone can achieve peace if they choose to. But it's like you're writing the like I just, what the fuck is the reason besides you being an asshole for things to turn out shitty again anyways, right? Like that's, yeah. So anyways, I'm sure him being an asshole is probably high up
Baraka
there on
has
the bingo
AIDS
card.
now. That's poor Baraka. Got outworld AIDS.
Well, Melina, yeah. So the Melina's thing is a disease. It's not a race anymore, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So anyway, whatever. We'll find
Outworld's
out.
out here dropping pause loads off of arm blades.
I mean, where there's pause loads, there's gonna be a neg ass somewhere.
Willie, do you want to hear the absolute most wretched moment of my entire public life?
Ratchet or wretched?
Wretched.
Okay.
I pulled these people out of emote mode. I made a joke about Leon being pause in the Separate Ways DLC, and a full 50% of my chat were like, Pause? What is that? What do you mean? What do you mean, what? And I had to explain it to them.
You know, pause has a whole different meaning these days, right?
No, wait, a new one? Like a genuine new one? Or
yes,
like
there's a completely different meaning. Okay.
No,
well,
I did not know that. What is the new pause?
Okay, the new pause is basically that's what she said every time you say something gay. So anytime you say something that could be interpreted as like whatever that sounds kind of gay, you go pause, and then that's like supposed to be like a in the moment, you know,
because most people thought when I called Leon pause, I was referring to his kitty cat costume.
Okay.
And that he was a furry.
Okay.
And that I was referring to a kitty cat's paws.
Okay.
Well, no, I'm talking about AIDS.
When I say new, I mean let's break this to Pat. All right. Pause. That is to say, which is now something that's come back. Or if it's from 20 years ago, it was only being slung around on the internet post-COVID at the very least. Right.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there's
getting older faster.
Yeah, dude, like there's a bunch of shit that also pops up. Like I remember literally it being in high school when my brother in Christ popped up as a funny way to tag any sentence when you're gonna like go off on something.
Yeah.
And then it went away completely, and now it's back for some reason. So I can only assume like a big streamer somewhere said it, and then everyone went, "That's hilarious," and jumped in there. But no, it isn't. Anyway, whatever. I think pause came back in the lexicon from.
Is it back?
Yeah, dude, I think I believe that pause came back in the lexicon due to the general black podcast circuit.
Okay.
I think that's where that's where it started. Is it so back? It's so back. Yes.
It's very back.
It's more back
on
than
God.
Yep. Okay. Anyway, so I usually look for a character to like fucking really attach to and like, you know, and oftentimes
really dump all your time into.
I like if there's a character that I like, I often like that character more than the game itself in some cases.
Yeah,
I know when I want to go like my dream when I miss Persona 4 Arena, I miss Akihiko doing his windmill combos.
I know exactly how you feel about that. I know exactly what you mean.
When I miss Guilty Gear, I miss like either Baiken parries or Nago fucking blood combos and shit. Like Steve Fox, etc. when I played MK, like, so even initially, I remember there's always a like the first time I touch it, there's always that like I'm not sure, and then Reggie had a similar thing we kind of talked about afterwards, where it's like we only kind of after labbing and or finding somebody or seeing something interesting and kind of going, okay, I see what's going on here. Do you start to kind of see something that might be interesting to play, but like there's not that initial draw, I guess. And for me, I liked KOTOR a lot when I saw him in 10, and on your knees, all that shit was dope. And then, you know, in 11 it was a journey down and up and all over the place. And then, yeah, Geras was all right. I thought he was a cool time character as well. And the way you fuck around with time shit is a cool thing. And he has like the best fatality as a result of like the one we talked about the other day, you know, like handing you your head and shit. And then when I went to pick him this time around, I guess it was just an initial touch, but yeah, it felt like an uphill battle with this character. Maybe you know, I'm sure if I go look and see what people are doing with him in a like proper, more competitive context, it'll make more sense. But it felt like in a game where fucking Raiden, Sub-Zero, Scorpion, and everybody are just everywhere at all times doing everything they want to, where smoke is coming at you backwards, low, up, down, and traveling, zoning, doing whatever. Everyone has so much, and a lot of their strings are able to go together really simply. You're a lot able to confirm off a lot of things. It felt like Geras is like, oh, you don't get to do that at all. You are kind of stuck. You don't get to go flying across the screen that much. You have a very limited move set that is going to be setting things up with time and getting some grapples in, playing like a grappler effectively. But a lot of the stuff that felt like more, a lot of his tools that I felt he had in the previous game, it feels like he's kind of missing here, you know? So, but again, I haven't really looked into
Why'd you gravitate towards Geras instead of KOTOR?
Well, that would probably be because KOTOR is, as of yet, still somewhere in a wheelchair, perhaps doing recovery and physical therapy.
I've been told that he exists in the story, but he jobs off camera.
I saw a screenshot of a line where someone said, like, oh, you defeated KOTOR. So, yeah, something to that effect, you know? I mean, look, man, that's a quick $10 they can drop on you anytime they want to, right?
No one's gonna pay $10 for
combined with Aaron Black and Devora and, you know, Cassie or Jackie or something, right? Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I kind of just hit that initial feeling and went like, damn, I'm not really seeing it or feeling it just off this first touch in any way. So, with that, I see Kenshi, and Kenshi's like got some cool looking things with the
I've
controlling
seen some
both.
stupid Kenshi shit.
Yeah, you control the ghost, and you can do like a bunch of like nonstop mix-ups,
like,
3-way.
3 characters on screen.
Bullshit.
Like that is, I never in my life expected to see NetherRealm, aka the Mortal Kombat devs, make a character that has more pieces attacking you than BlazBlue did.
Yeah, it's
ridiculous.
And I really just wish that like they hard committed to making the game a 2v2 though, because not only would that fully capitalize on the whole cameo system they're doing and stuff, but and 2v2, like, you don't get it that often in fighting games, but when you do, it's usually pretty good. You know, Tekken Tag is fun, and you know, again, the system in Infinite, you know, despite the game itself was really, really fun. I think if they also committed to 2v2, it would but it would justify the game's existence more with everyone who's kind of just like, why are we rebooting this again? What are we doing? Right? There's a very clear, common like sentiment out there that is like, what? Like, really? We're doing it again? You know?
Yeah, no. Liu Kang, when he recreated the universe, said Mortal Kombat is a 2v2 tournament now. That's it.
Yeah,
That's what you
yeah,
do.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
no, this is the way I decided. I figured I figured I'd mix it up a little bit.
But I think the way they're going about it is like, because this is an in-universe reboot. Well, the last one was an in-universe reboot too.
They're all in universe reboots.
Yeah, okay. In
some cases, they're in universe reboots.
Yes. So okay, the first time around, it was like one of the first time anyone had ever seen an in-universe reboot. So it was like, oh, that's really cool, right? And then like Star Trek, I think, was like one of the only other examples, and that was a novel concept, definitely. But
a soft C boot.
Yeah. Whereas what we're used to is just a brand new game comes out and it just says we're doing it all over again, this time starring Andrew Garfield, right? So here, when it's like not just a in-universe reboot, but like the previous reboot was the like little memory of it's like a little blip in Raiden's thoughts to set up the new story, and then you just kind of go from there. Here, it's actually a continuation of, everything in the past because of Fire God Liu Kang, etc. So I guess the thought is it's a reboot, but because it's actually a sequel, it won't bother people as much that it's a restart. And if no one's really paying that much attention, they're kind of just like, why are we doing this? I've seen a lot of people kind of, down on that part of it. Anyway, if this were a straight up 2v2, like full on, I think the game itself being a completely different format would show a reason for it to exist that was much more clear. You're playing a style that you've never played before. Again, like Tekken Tag Tournament, regardless of whatever the story's doing.
I think you're completely right. However, I think that the average casual player will have their brain just fucking melt out of their ass at 2v2. I think Billy, the 13-year-old that wants to play Mortal Kombat to shoot Scorpion's spear, doesn't want to play a character other than Scorpion.
So Tekken Tag also had a thing about it where, this kind of leans into like picking two characters and learning them versus like kind of wanting to stick with what you've got. In Tekken Tag, you don't have to kill both characters for the round to end.
Yeah, Tekken Tag is the most stressful fighting game I've ever played in my life. I was like sweating every single minute I was playing that game.
If one character goes down, the round ends there, right? So if you decided to pick your main, stick with them, and never switch to your partner, you could just do that, right? It's almost like
stupid as fuck.
And it's almost like a soft groove system, right? It's almost like picking one character in Skullgirls versus the three or whatever. But because you don't get your character killed and then your next one has to run in and you're forced to control somebody that you may or may not know how to play, or so it could be softer on them. But maybe I don't know. I would like to believe you could, people can learn a second character that's not that. If you're putting out, okay, let's put it this way. What they went with...
Wait, hold on. I think you're missing the forest for the trees. I think learning one character is beyond most casual fighting game fans.
Yes. But here's where I'm going, right? The things they decided to pull out of the idea of a 2v2 with the Kamiya system are the most complex parts already. The Marvel jump in assist while you continue to fight two at the same time thing is way more complicated than switching from A to B, right? So KOF style switching from A to B is a much more simple version of things than the learn how to fight two things at the same time. And they went with the more complex one, So
I don't think it's more complex. I think hitting a single button to have the assist come in is a lot simpler than having a whole second character to deal with.
In terms of how to use it, but
because like the standard way you would use a cameo seems to be do 4 hits your combo, have the cameo come out to extend it, do 4 hits your combo, have the cameo come out to extend it, and then finish your combo.
Yeah, and that's kind of what it ended up being in other games, like like Dragon Ball, for example. But remember how the initial conversation we had about Dragon Ball was about how like you were uncomfortable with like how much tag mechanics would like be really hard to manage because
I'm trash at all tag assist games.
And so that's not just a you thing as well. Like multiple people have definitely felt the stress of more than one character jumps out on the screen at the same time, not just a combo extender, but like literally out of neutral, we're fighting, and then suddenly Sonya's covering the high and I'm coming in low, and it's like it does overwhelm people a lot regularly. So that part of the game, which is a huge part of the game, because the assist doesn't just come in as a combo extender. They're coming in all the time doing different things. They're coming in after you throw. They're coming in with every...
We need somebody who doesn't know how to play Mortal Kombat to weigh in on this discussion. We need like a neophyte that's just like, I want to shoot the ice ball.
I guess to simplify, the of all the things you could have pulled in with having a second character, the ones that they did go with are the ones that make the game the hardest for a new person to handle, right? 3 characters coming at you at the same time is a very difficult thing to handle.
I have to agree. The mix of not tagging, but then also the stupid Kenshi shit, or like Frost pushing you all the way to the end of the screen, like that seems fucked. Yeah. That's a lot of crazy shit you have available.
Right, and then there's assists that come out and hurt you and the opponent at the same time.
Really?
Yes, there's assists that are... And not only that, when you go to the tutorial, there's assists that are meant to be only used... how do I describe it? Some assists come out independently of whatever you're doing, and you move around freely, and they do their thing freely. And some assists, you have to stop, taunt, and then they come in, right?
Okay.
And they have different utility that the game tries to teach you about, which is, again, complicated, you know? So, like, they've already committed to a really, like, out there mix-up heavy thing. I kind of am just like, yeah, like, if you made it, like, having 2 characters together or whatever the case would be, it would kind of justify the game's existence a little stronger. Plus, it might be a little bit more of a, like... whatever you have to do with the story in a reboot setting, you know, if you had a Tekken tag style, like almost not dream match, but like we're clearly changing this up. The game is different. The formula is different. It's Mortal Kombat, but also new things are happening.
Hey, I have a quick question. In the $50 DLC thing that has the extra characters, do cameos also appear in that?
Yes, so I think it lists a bunch. It lists 5 characters and whatever cameos come out as well.
How cynical is it to imagine that one of the big reasons for the cameo system is so that they could use cameos to inflate the cost of the DLC?
1,000,000%, absolutely. And
wait, 1,000,000% cynical, or like?
Oh, they're absolute. When I look at the cameo system and I see all the old roster there, I see that as a very simple, effective way of going, look, it's your faves. They're here. They're not really here, but they're here. Don't you want them? Shell out.
It's like Cyrax is there, but he's not there.
Yeah, shell out. But you're going to sell out because he's there. And what does he have? He's got his 3 moves, right? Yeah. He's got his fatality, because you can do a fatality with just your assist. And he's a part of the game without being actually, you know, so it's more than enough if you're a Cyrax fan to have him come out, do his bomb fatality, do his web, do his grenade thing, and do his hidden missiles. Like, yeah, that's all I wanted to see, you know. I got my get over here, I got my freeze, I got my and I'm good, you know. Like, so that's kind of the deal, is like, if you look at each of these characters as 3 or 4 moves and fatalities, you're buying that in the cameo. You're getting the most like casual, what exactly the person wants version of events. Like that's part of that price for sure. It sucks. It's absolutely, again, it's bullshit, and it's bilking. But they're definitely treating it that way. And anyone who's like, I want X or Y, why aren't they in the game or whatever, is going to be like, well, here's your cameo version, deal with it, you know? Yeah. So, tag team fatalities, if that were a thing, I'm sure that'd be awesome. Like, that'd be a fun thing to sell as well, you know, if you went with full 2v2s and stuff. But there's tag team X-rays that are Street Fighter Cross Tekken style, so. Anyway, yeah, that's kind of how I felt, you know. I was just like, man, I sure do not like not having the ability to jump into a lobby and right off the bat.
You know, I'll be honest, I was like genuinely thinking of hopping into MK1 and doing the story mode and finding out that Shang Tsung is full $10. It's just, oh, that one hurts. That one's ridiculous.
He appears to be a Zeku style character of switching between old and young and copying the opponent and stuff.
How about that Switch version though, man?
Yeah.
How about that Switch version?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think kudos to them for having the practice and tutorials under a section called Learn on the main menu.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a bold choice. I like it. I like the I mean, yeah, I like the amount of banter between, you know, the Mortal Kombat pre-fight banter is a fun bit that's gotten to become a staple in the recent years. The little clash and then the fight starts. That stuff is seems to be still intact and pretty good. What was it? There was one. I forgot what it was, but I want to say like Sindel versus like Rain or something, where he's like, "Oh, like I'll defeat you with the power of water" or something, and she just laughs at him. It's just like, you know, there's little quips like that are like fun. Yeah, I fucking I can't. I look at the money on this thing and it just seems insane to me. And the features that are missing there as well. And we'll see what story mode has to hold, you know, but this feeling that, you know, we're kind of pushing the game out a little feature incomplete, and charging a fuck ton for that feature incomplete version of it is just, that sucks, man. Anyway, yeah, offline is the only place you get the banter. Online, you don't get it at all. I heard about that. When you queue up with people, it just goes right into the match. You don't even get to have that little character select screens clash because it's a transition. The banter is a transition from the character select screen to the fight. But if you just queue up, you don't get it.
But that's cool.
It is cool. It's a bummer. Anyway, that's
I'm mad
the deal.
that Street Fighter shit like that doesn't have more stuff like that. I love that shit.
Yeah.
I still miss fucking Ken and Ryu bumping fists.
Yeah, CVS, man. Capcom versus SNK with the unique intros across the board. And I've always, you know, talked about, even in the most lazy form, SVC Chaos, you just read some text between the characters. At least it's a little bit of personality where there was none, you know? Win quotes are all fine and dandy, and you can get some personalized someone talking shit about someone else there, and I like that, but it's nice to see it with the characters before the fight and the interactions, you know? Anyway, beyond that, not much else. Just played a bit more Baldur's Gate and, you know, had a much more, I feel like, we had a better session after understanding it and playing it on my own, like last time, and things kind of make more sense since I've had a chance to like process them offline, so to speak. And yeah, shit's good.
That game just keeps going. I'm like nearing the end of the second act, and I've like done 2 full games worth of shit. And I'm in the second act. It's fucking ridiculous. It is a full trilogy of games in one game. It's ridiculous.
And it feels like it's the overworld the map is one of those maps where any door you see is like, just assume that's a fucking multi-hour dungeon, I'm sure, behind that thing, you know? Like I'm like just like, or like a big fight waiting for you or whatever, because it's like oh shit, what's over there? Peek inside. Well, I guess we're going here, you know?
It's a game with no wasted space. Everything is clearly put there for a reason.
There's traveling roads, you know, where you're just kind of walking from location A to B, but
yeah, and then you walk a whopping like 15 seconds, and then oh, what's this zany adventure?
Get spit out at like a door that was like, oh, that was the halfway point between A and B that I just walked by anyway. What the? Yeah. So anyway, yeah, good stuff there. It's a fucking forever game. It's insane. We will be jumping back into a couple different things. I'm not sure what yet this week, but of course, stay tuned to my Twitter. I'll announce the schedule there. I went back over my. I've been playing the replay missions in Armored Core. I was trying to figure out what the criteria for a rank or above was, and I thought it was.
There's a robot that can tell you now. Actually, there's an app somebody made.
Okay, because I thought it was just kill everything, but in a bunch of them it's like do it fast, right?
The most important thing is do it fast.
Okay, and yeah, and I feel like I'm like, oh, like in the helicopter mission, it doesn't care if you take on the challenge of, you know, picking off the scraps and then fighting the big boy and then taking out the helicopters. Because I feel it's more challenging to do all of that on limited ammo, to kill everything on the map with limited ammo. That's way harder than it is to just kill the helicopters quickly.
Yeah, so the basic logic is that speed is like, imagine speed is like the number one factor, but actually beating the mission on the just, you know, imagine you didn't shoot anybody, beating it under the time that it requires for the S rank is insanely difficult, but every enemy you kill gives you like a couple seconds of leeway. So the ideal is to go as fast as you possibly can and murder everything that is like in front of you, like directly in front of you, as you go through the optimal path. Yeah, somebody just posted the rank calculator for every mission in the game, and it'll just show you. Here, I'll send it to you. It just shows you. It's like a sliding scale. It's super cool about like, hey, what do you need to do?
Yeah. Okay.
You turn up repair costs and turn down ammo costs, and then clear time turn it down. Yeah, it's fascinating.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, I guess I was expecting something more like, you know, about the high value targets, since there's like, you know, a bunch of stages where there's a big boy waiting the fuck over there. You gonna go deal with him or no? You know? But
so like mission 1, if you beat it within 3 minutes, you can have just an absurd amount of ammo costs and high repair costs, but you got to beat it in 3 minutes. So if you want to beat it in 6 minutes, your ammo costs have to be really low and your repair costs have to be almost nothing.
Interesting. This is so different because, like, I mean, this is I'm guessing this has been the staple in the franchise for a while now, right? Ranking you according to.
Wouldn't be able to tell you.
Okay. But imagine you had to rank someone's run through Blighttown, right?
Yeah.
Right? Like, imagine you had to, so like, okay, what can you do? You can factor in you can factor in how quickly you get to bonfires and then how quickly you get to Kelag, or you can factor in taking out the little boss thing on the side there, or, you know what I mean? Like, there's a bunch of things to consider. And then poison damage and so on. And yeah, I did a bunch of I kind of, well, I that's the thing, is like before, like in most cases I kind of just was like winging it, trying to kill everything, and then realizing that like, no, that took too long, so that's no good anyway. I guess a balance between the two is fine, but I definitely like ones where the reward is more combat oriented. Because, yeah, making sure you use your bullets efficiently and not being wasteful before running out is legitimately a challenge depending on your build. I'm rocking a heavy arm style, double Gatling guns, and then switch to the bunk, you know, after...
yeah, those Gatling guns rule.
A lot of fun. Cleaned up the arena with those boys. Real sick. And once I got the OS points, like, so you can spread. It's interesting. Like, each category of OS is, I mean, thank God you can refund them even if it's at a small cost, because like there's the ones that just make you better overall with new functions. There's the ones that make you better with, like, you know, stronger. You do more damage or take less damage. But
and there's like better melee or better kinetic damage, and they're very specific.
But the ones that like are straight up like, here is your explosion, here is your shield when you're about to die, like those you have to pick one chip of that set. And when I invested in like a couple of them that I thought sounded interesting, and then I was like, oh fuck, I only get to pick one. Well, why would I ever spend on anything
Yeah, no,
but the
those are
one I want
for
to.
later or for different robots that have different needs. Personally, I went with the one where you get an extra hit after you die because I was really bad at
Magic
using
Pixel.
it on purpose.
Okay.
I would
Uh,
constantly die and then be like, "Oh, I guess I should have popped my shield, huh?"
I tried it out, and then when I saw that it was like, yeah, 5 OS points for the Magic Pixel, I'm like, no, I want my fucking Super Burst, because I was using my Super Burst a lot, right? Anytime I got a crumple or stagger going, and the fact that you can get like multiple of them, I'm like, yeah, let's just invest in the thing we've already put the money into, you know. So that's cool. And then I was looking at manual aiming, and that's like a legacy ability, right? That's like a kind of halfway between soft lock, no, and hard soft lock, no lock, hard lock. Where and I seem to recall my old roommate was like talking about it, or is that not a thing? Because I feel like it's new. Okay, because I seem to recall my old roommate talking
Yeah,
about
even
like,
Armor Core 1 never technically had manual aiming.
okay. I'm recalling a conversation I had where like he talked about like needing to like lead certain shots where they're going to be, you know, and when you get better, like you can, like, you know, again put out the projectile like where they're dashing to as opposed to just trying to chase. But yeah, I didn't buy it yet, so I haven't really tested it out.
I never used manual aiming. Didn't find any particular use for it. Then again, I beat the game before understanding lock-on, so fuck me.
I imagine I imagine if you're playing with a mouse and keyboard, manual aiming must be fucking insanely busted.
Oh, I bet. I bet.
On a controller, you know, you're gonna do what you can, but okay, curious. Well, anyways, yeah, check my schedule. I'll let you guys know. We'll figure it out this week. But I do know that on Saturday, we are gonna do a Get Into Fighting Games. We're gonna have Chirithi come over, and we're gonna jump in and do some Kami. So if you're a Kami player out there, come check it out. We got a really good one coming to break it down for you. Plus, I think Aki's gonna be out at that time, so she's out this week.
Oh, is she? Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. And yeah, Min is currently at Tokyo Game Show actually, and he got some.
Oh, cool.
Got to try her out. Got some footage. Yeah. She's doing things. So that's pretty much me. Check it out, Wooly Versus on Twitch and on YouTube. I got to run to the bathroom real quick.
Yeah, me too. Actually, perfect.
BRB.
I'll imagine we're pissing next week.
Two things I forgot to mention. Real quick. One, the newest Wooly versus Whatever is also out as of this morning, I believe. So go check that out over on the second channel, Wooly versus the Algorithm. Slop Otaku Engage is the title. Good times. And so this week, I'm gonna do the Kamiya thing, and one of the days, at least, I know I'm gonna jump into Darkest Dungeon, actually. So now that I've beaten it, I want to do a
Do you
run
feel confident enough that you can sit down and just fucking? Because I remember sitting down with you, and you're like, "Hey, Pat, let's take a look at Into the Breach." And I'm like, okay, cool. And then you sat down and then you fucking beat Into the Breach in like an hour and started on playthrough. I'm like, okay. You really know what the fuck you're doing.
I think I can. Depends on what chapter and how we go. The more I involve, like if I just play what I want and pick my stuff and go, I'm pretty sure I can. If I kind of like let people sort of choose what to grab this character or that and stuff, then it's a bit of a challenge, and it's like, okay, maybe not. But I'm feeling like I could probably maybe 60-70% shot, depending, you know. I don't know. We'll see. But I think that's the fun of it, right? So we'll fuck around, find out. What's going on?
Let's see. There's some stuff I missed from last week, actually. I wonder. I don't have no idea why I couldn't get to everything I wanted to talk about last week, but it's a mystery. I actually beat Blasphemous 2. And by beat I mean like 100% complete Blasphemous 2, like every single thing in Blasphemous 2. And it is larger. It has much more weapons. It feels cleaner. You don't have the awful thing in Blasphemous 1 where you can only pick one traversal ability two traversal abilities at once.
Yeah, you talked about how instead of the sword now you have multiple weapons, and it expands on the gameplay quite a good bit.
It doesn't have instant kill spikes anymore, which was insane in the first one.
So how does Blasphemous stack up, would you say, not just to its predecessor, but to, like, of all the, I guess, 2D Souls, you know, there's like Salt and Sanctuary, there's Death's Gambit.
I don't think it's a fair comparison to put it into the Souls discussion. This is a Metroid game.
Fair enough.
This is you're right. Metroid game.
Sorry.
Castlevania is the the comparison point.
Is there a corpse run?
Yeah, but it's minor. Like
okay.
it's like, would you compare like Hollow Knight to Souls?
Hollow Knight. Sorry.
Okay.
The corpse run makes me like
so
totally
on every mechanical level, it is way better, but it isn't quite as weird and interesting as the first one. And I don't know how I feel about that.
Lore wise, or like how weird the boss fights are.
I'll use an example. So the boss fights are better. Like, they are better, more engaging, fun boss fights. They're all against other penitent ones. So most of them are human sized. And they're all like variations of like Virgil fights eventually. They're but different. Mm-hmm. And they're cool gimmicks. Like, one is the embroiderer, so she has a needle, but it acts like a rapier, that kind of thing. And it's a much better boss fight than a lot of the big bosses in the first game. But the big bosses in the first game were all nightmare weirdo shit that was like a painting that they retrofit into a boss fight. And it kind of loses some of that. It's a better game, easy, but I don't think I quite like it as much.
Okay. I can imagine a setting where if everything ended up being the Virgil, it's not a special anymore, right? That stands out when you're fighting a bunch of giant monsters.
Like there are maybe 10, 11, 12 boss fights, and like 8 of them are like people. There is a really cool bit where it takes place in the far future, so like 1 or 2 of the areas from the first game are like deep underground, and that's cool. But yeah, it doesn't hit the same. I don't know how to describe it. I wish I had the words to do so. And it's not... It's okay. So part of the Blasphemous appeal is, hey man, Spanish Catholicism has tons of weird shit in it, right? This doesn't feel like it's a sequel's worth of more weird shit.
Okay.
It feels approximately the same, but I've already seen a lot of this types of weird shit.
Okay. So
it's not hitting as hard.
Instead of a further exploration of the themes into things you haven't seen, it's just taking the same but spreading it out in a different way.
Yeah. And there's a lot of tiny little details. So like one of the things that's really minor but it bugs me is that in the original game you just had the sword. It's called the Mea Culpa. I like that sword better than all of the 3 weapons in the sequel. And there was a mechanic where if you like stunned an enemy, you could do like a custom fancy kill on them. And because you always had the sword, there were a lot of animations. Because you have the 3 weapons now, most of those stun kills are like you throwing thorns down into the ground, and then thorns go over the enemy and burst them. And it's like, this is a really minor animation detail, but like I kind of miss it.
Sounds like a good excuse for like something like the final level to give you that final ability to hey, look, it's a buster.
One thing, and this is strange because they like the first game had some weird limitations on like pits or movement abilities, and a lot of those are improved. Like the second game has a really good in-game mark the map system where you can mark it with a red dot or a picture of a person or a question mark or whatever on any particular grid, right? And there's a chime that you can unlock that'll bing when you go into a room that has a secret wall, so that you can scrape for secret walls. I am really genuinely astonished that they made 2 games in a row that in order to get the final ending, you have to go find a bunch of secret little cherubs hidden around the map, and then in the second game there's absolutely no way to see which ones you've gotten or ping them on the map in any which way, so you have to open up a YouTube guide and go through all 34 of them one by one by one by one by one and make sure you got all of them so that you can get the item to unlock the true ending. And that was really annoying the first time. I can't believe it's exactly the same again. Like, they made all these little mechanical changes that were like, oh, that's nice. Oh, that's improved. This one's actually kind of a big deal because you really have to go and get them.
How hidden are they? Like, are we talking...
Very.
Yeah?
A lot of them are not that hidden. They're right up in your fucking face. And you see them and you're like, I can't get them. And so you mark them on your map. Some are very... very hidden, and maybe you saw one before you understood what the map features were. So I spent like 2 hours trying to find the last one and going through a list on YouTube, only to find out that the very first one that I saw in the game was the one that I missed. And every time I looked at the stupid YouTube guide, I'm like, oh, of course I got that one. That's in the town. How could I have missed that one?
And you don't
because it's kind
a checklist.
Yeah, because there's no checklist.
And if you got one that was in an area that you thought you didn't get one in, you might just bumble around for a while.
Yeah, so I had to just go read.
Jeez.
When it was in the first game that happened, and I'm like, you know what? This is their first try. It's it happens. With the second one, it just like I'm sitting there and like that was like the last 90 minutes of the game before I went and fought the final boss. And I'm just like, oh, this sucks. Come on. Just put a list of ones I've already got. That's all I want.
I'm getting waves of Triforce pieces. I'm getting waves of Dark World puzzles to solve in Metroid Prime 2. Just right at the end.
And you can beat the game without it. The only thing that changes the ending, it's not a different boss fight. But like
what is it? Stars in Braid? Or
what was it?
Was it Stars? I think they were Stars.
I don't think there were stars. I think it was. But yeah, great game, just not quite as much of a wow as the first one, which is kind of a bummer. Hey, you know what? Maybe you know art stuff. Maybe you'll agree. The cutscenes in the original game were really, really rare. But the cutscene, I think you probably remember the one where the Blasphemous, the penitent one cuts open a dude and fills his head with blood, his helmet with blood, and jams right. And that's done in like an old style pixel, like VGA kind of cutscene thing.
Old PC game.
The new cutscenes are done in like a more modern animated cartoon one that looks way worse. And there's way more of them. And I'm sure they thought it looked way better, but it doesn't fit the aesthetic at all, and it just doesn't quite work. It's out. In the original, it fit perfectly right in, and then now it's like, oh, this is the cutscene that they had somebody animate for them.
Okay, yeah, that's a bummer. I mean, in cases, there's times like that where I kind of, whenever something like that happens, I'm kind of like, I wish you just did it with the sprites.
Yeah.
Instead, at that point, just let that play out with the sprites having unique cutscene things instead. But yeah,
overall, yeah, still great game. Just doesn't pop the same way as the first one.
Okay.
I'd like to talk to you about Edge Runners. Unfortunately, I haven't actually watched any more of it since.
Okay.
It's I've trapped myself in the wife lockout media room. Which is, hey, honey, would you like to sit down and watch more? I'm tired. Not really.
Lockout.
I was specifically given permission to bring this situation, the way that this came up. What's wild is that in the middle of this conversation, I scrolled past an interview with the One Piece VFX lady talking about how Chopper would be prosthetics in the second season, and in the same conversation of I really should have watched Edge Runners before the podcast today, came my wife asking, should we start watching One Piece? And then the discussion of One Piece and all that shit.
I don't know what Chopper is, but
he's the reindeer.
Okay, I do know that
he's a little adorable reindeer man.
Oh, okay, yes,
yeah.
I do know that the Netflix recommendation is now recommending a One Piece anime because everyone's also watching that again as a result of this being.
I'm not going to watch the One Piece anime. I'll watch One Piece, but I will not watch. Well, I will not watch fucking One Piece. I can't. Dude, like 40% of those episodes is like recap. It's like DBZ on crack steroids.
I do know that like it has been pointed out, and it's true that like you can read through manga pretty quickly, and I did burn through Chainsaw Man faster than I thought I was.
I read Berserk in a weekend.
It's wild, right? Well, so and Berserk is like it gets wordy at some points, and then sometimes it gets like silent, right? It just bops back and forth between the two. Some depends on what manga, like Chainsaw Man is really light on words, at least in the first part. So you go real quick on that. But in any case, I mean, I think Curiosity watched the first episode or two of One Piece just to see what the fuck is going on in the live action,
What we should probably do is we should probably watch the live action one, and if that's to taste, switch over to something like One Piece. Though I went to One Piece's website, and boy, it's really confusing as to like how to actually watch the damn episodes. I'll have to have somebody who knows better point me in the right direction.
Oh, it's not just like a Dragon Ball Kai style.
It is exactly that, but you go to I want to see the Barati arc, and it's like join this Discord server, and I'm like, what? No, give me the magnet link.
I see. Okay.
Why is it so hard to read the manga? Someone asks. It's really hard to read the manga as a married couple together while taking care of your infant. It's a lot easier to put a TV show on the TV, motherfuckers. You lost your fucking minds.
Skill issue.
You know what's really fun as a couple? To both read the same thing next to each other. Ooh. Especially when you have like Paige actually reads way faster than I do. So like that would just be disastrous. All right, so I'll talk about Edge Runners next week. I did so first of all, thanks for the free code, CD Projekt. I got Cyberpunk and Phantom Liberty. Haven't played that much of it. Only played about 2-3 hours. Only really two things to say. One, it feels like a completely different game, and I don't mean like because all these features are different. I mean, it literally feels like a completely different game. Like the way it moves, the way it runs, the way the controls feel, the way they added the new feature of double tapping to draw your weapon. Gives you the new reload animation on the first try, stuff like that. The second of which is it is on a good computer the best looking video game from a visual perspective I have ever seen in my entire life without any qualification.
Holy shit.
It uses that new fancy what's it called? Ray reconstruction, which is it's basically a way to make ray tracing go really fast and run well. Have you ever seen like clips of a guy who looks like Mark Henry in his limo in Cyberpunk?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so there's that guy's Dexter Deshawn, and you meet him in a very early mission, and we're sitting in his car. And he's got reflective detail off of every single thing out the window on his skin. And I can see on his sunglasses the world behind my character through my passenger side window. And it's like accurate, good reflections with colored lighting. It is incredibly impressive.
It's also something that I imagine most games and or settings don't need, but in a world that is called cyberpunk, the reflecting of neon things into puddles is the most important. Puddles, yes, is the most important thing. It's so like number one with a bullet.
So like when ray tracing was invented and shown off, it was like, look at these reflections. And I vividly remember the NVIDIA keynote was they're showing like reflections off a bullet in Battlefield, and you're like, who gives a fucking shit about this?
That's
and
insane.
it was always like, hey, look, it's got better reflections at the cost of 70% of your performance.
Right.
Like you're running the game at 100 frames. Hey, guess what? Run it at 30, and the reflections will be better. This new feature that works with my video card, blah blah blah. It runs well now, and it is not just reflections. It's also like colored lighting has a massive upgrade. It is the best looking game I have ever seen in my life. It is like I didn't get very far because I was actually doing things like what I wanted to do in the original release, which was stand on a street corner and like look at the, oh wow, this is like a wallpaper. It's really, really fucking impressive, and I am looking forward to getting more time in on it. People who are farther than me, which is everyone, seem to be genuinely enjoying the 2.0 changes.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things. I mean, the trailer right off the bat looked like fucking awesome. I think one person talked about having control issues at some point, but it seemed like probably a them issue.
I'm glad I waited. I'm really, really, really glad I waited. I think a while ago when we were talking about Baldur's Gate, I described how like a certain genre of RPG is like always play them like 2 or 3 years later when the final big patch comes out and the developer announces they're moving on.
Yeah, my slow speed benefits a lot for things like this. Just get it in its
like,
best form.
CD Projekt is like that, and it seems like they're becoming more like that. Like Witcher 1 to Witcher 1 Enhanced Edition was a little while. Witcher 2 to Witcher 2 Enhanced Edition was longer. Fixing Witcher 3 took longer than that, and Cyberpunk took even longer than that. But the game feels done now, whereas when the game came out, it felt patently unfinished. I remember having the strongest PC I could have at the time that game released, and the very first cutscene in the game where you look at a mirror almost crashed my computer. And just being like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
Yeah, no, the thing you hope for, I guess, is that, like, again, if there is a really good game inside of the shit that launches poorly, that you can, like, in the future, tell people to go play it with no caveats, you know?
Yeah, now I could probably recommend it to anybody. The only thing is to get it on Steam and make sure you can run it to what you like, because it's still a beefy, like, performance heavy game. I wonder what it looks like on the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series X in terms of like the ray tracing stuff. Because I'm running it at max on a PC. Someone in chat says it's okay. Well,
Yeah, I haven't done a video card upgrade or anything like that, I think, recently, so...
I got somebody coming in on my DM saying it looks close to Ghost of Tsushima on PS5. That's high praise. That game looks incredible. So I'll let you know more about that.
Yeah.
Next week.
Sucks when you have to tell somebody to go play something with a giant asterisk, and who knows, maybe if you wait long enough, you can enjoy your KOTOR 2 without any
I don't know if that picked up
patches
God,
whatsoever. Dude. And then you'd be like, hey, did you buy a copy of this game? Sorry, fuck off, too bad. Yeah. Well, anyway, we can get a lawsuit together, maybe.
I need to I would. So they're getting sued. Asper Media is getting sued over saying that the restored content mod is coming to the Switch version because they canceled it. And that seems legitimate. My question is, and this is really important, this game came out in a box, right? Like, yeah. there's like a box. Is there a boxed copy of Knights of the Old Republic 2 on the Switch?
I would assume so. Most physical games exist
right,
on
yeah,
Switch.
That's okay. So my question is, okay, somebody in the chat has a box. Does it say will include the restored content on the back of the box? Because if so, oh yeah. I'm waiting for a boner 89 to answer my question.
So the thing is, of course, is that games get canceled all the time, and things, cancellation is no unseen thing in the video game industry. However, the thing in this particular case, yeah, like they marketed the fuck out of that right off the bat, and that's what made everyone breathe easy on that.
Apparently, it does not on the back of the box.
Okay. What I didn't know, looking at the story though, was that apparently anyone who wanted to like they gave away a PC copy to everybody, so that like, oh, you can just go play the Steam version with restored content if you go figure it out on your own, I suppose. But yeah, that's
still not that's
not
still
it.
come on.
That's not
That
the same
DLC
thing
was explicitly promised. People bought that game
for that result.
under that context. Also, I'm not sure what the current state is, but the last I heard, the game was incompletable because of a bug I ran into where you land on Onderon and you can't leave the Ebon Hawk. I'm not sure if they ever fixed that.
So it's also, I mean, whatever. We're just as on the topic, like this whole story, I feel like it just highlights the biggest problem, which is not having a return system on all platforms for digital purchases.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the actual huge culprit.
Remember, I mean, we were just talking about
Steam.
Cyberpunk and how much of a mess that had to be.
Yep.
Where Sony had to like refund people themselves.
Promise whatever the fuck you want, and then when people are like unhappy with the fact that you don't deliver on those promises, well, they're like, I never booted the game. I was waiting for that restored content mod. Fuck you. Give me my money back.
So, I mean, PC gaming has a lot of problems. Like a lot. Like a ton. Like a crazy amount of fucking awful problems. But refunding shit on Steam has allowed me to try out like hundreds of games that I don't give a fuck about and find dozens that I never would have checked out otherwise. Like it is great system to be able to refund shit and be like, oh yeah, this sucks, or it doesn't run good on my computer, or oh, I thought it had better controller support, or oh, blah, blah, whatever.
I barely ever use it. I really can't think of many times I've ever done it, but again, it's just,
I have streamed
nice
games and refunded them after the stream.
Exactly. Yeah, that's fucking crazy.
Hey man, as long as you don't play it for more than 2 hours,
well, it's
all good.
Or more just like, you know, we're moving away from brick and mortar. Fine, give me all the things I could do with a physical copy of a game. You know.
Actually, it's been a long time since you could return a physical copy of the game that you opened. This is better in a lot of cases. It's been a long time.
Yeah. It's as long as okay. It had to, as long as if you broke the seal, you could no longer.
Yeah, if you broke the seal, they'd be like,
right.
"Well, you could trade it in, and we give you a good deal."
Right.
Go fuck yourself. How about that?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, and assuming that this is not a case of we've already broken the seal and we're going to put a copy of the disc into the plastic and give it to you, bullshit. Like they did for a bunch of games I used to buy back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, their whole thing was like they kept the copies behind the shelf and then they would put them in anyway, whatever.
I was just reminded that I was playing a horror game that I really didn't like called Madison, and the context of that stream became, can I beat it before the refund timer rolls over?
Right.
And I can't remember if I did.
Or the game called Refund Me If You Can, or whatever the fuck it was. So, yeah.
But especially for PC games in which you're going to try games out and you don't know how they're going to run on your computer, like a good refund is vital. Right. I remember back before I was a professional content creator, and I had like a normal human PC. Yeah, I'd buy games all the time that ran like fucking dog shit. I mean, the most famous one ever is FF7, way back on Windows 95. Man, that game didn't work on nobody's computer.
Yeah, on a console, you don't get that part where it's like, oh, it doesn't boot or whatever. Well, I mean, usually
it's rare.
Usually, you would think the compliance department would have a thing or two to say about that, but here we are. But yeah, I don't know what the metric would be, but I think, you know, having a timer and/or there's a couple things you can do to say, okay, this is a fair amount of time before you.
Have you owned the game for more than 14 days? Have you played it for less than 2 hours? But like that's the easiest way to do it. I think it's worked out fairly well.
Mm-hmm. And I think that like to some degree you're gonna like you can't avoid the fact that there's gonna be some people who are like, well, my whole existence will now be dedicated towards playing 1 hour and 58 minutes of every game.
That's fine.
And it's like, all right, yeah, if that's you, man. That's okay. What are you gonna do?
That's fine. Eventually, one of eventually they will run over the timer and not be able to refund it.
Though the question, I suppose, is like, what do you do for something like Sayonara Wild Hearts, right? What do you do when like the purpose of this game is to be like a short and sweet experience? You know,
I'm really torn on that. That's a really complicated topic.
Mm-hmm. I'm okay with things like that existing. I'm down with it. You can price it accordingly, in my opinion. You can make games of all lengths. Doesn't have to last 2 hours if that's not what you intended. Just price it accordingly.
I feel like if you're going to make a game that lasts as long as a movie theater, that it should approach movie theater ticket pricing.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think that's how I feel about that.
Mm-hmm. I'd rather that than say, no, everything must last X amount of time, no matter what the idea is and whether or not it has 2 hours of juice in itself, you know? Mm-hmm. Cool. All right.
That's it for me. If you want to check out my crap, you can go down to twitch.tv/PatStaresAt. It's going to be Baldur's Gate, more Separate Ways, probably something else. Also on Friday, we will be enshrining into practice finally the Pat Stares At segment, beating your wife in quotes at video games. And Paige will be joining me for the continuation of the LA Noire playthrough on my channel. Oh yeah, and Liza P. I forgot about Liza P. Yeah, Liza P. Definitely Liza P.
I was expecting like a competitive game to attach that title to, but
yeah, but I don't care. We've wanted to call something that for like 5, 6, 7 years.
Okay.
All
right. Quick word from our sponsors. This week, the podcast is sponsored by HelloFresh.
HelloFresh.
Hello, Fresh. Yeah. HelloFresh, you know the deal. If you don't, that's farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes. They're coming straight to your doorstep, and they're coming on a regular basis. You don't have to deal with grocery store nonsense. You get home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. The deal is really simple. If you want to get good food and you want to get it conveniently because life is not slowing down anytime soon, if you have, I don't know, let's say a third mouth to feed all of a sudden, that comes with a lot less time and a lot less, a lot less freedom to futz about on your food because you got to take care of stuff.
Going to the grocery store has gone from a small annoyance to a laughable ordeal now that there is a tiny baby around.
An ordeal is certainly a word. So, yeah, you want the ability to get that conveniently delivered to you. And on top of that, you get options with 40 recipes and over 100 add-on items you can choose from every week. More is more. And you have a busy schedule that needs you to spend less time making the meals as well. You can check out their quick and easy options. You can get wholesome meals that have recipes with 15 minutes of preparation. And just like that, you can get a tasty dinner in less time than it takes to even get some takeout or some delivery. So check them out. You're getting top-notch produce, travels from farm to door in less than 7 days. And as we've mentioned, you're getting the coldest high-tech box that they got. You're pulling it out right out of the fridge box into your fridge. It's kind of amazing how they figure that stuff out. Get in there. You you get that card as well that is real simple, 1 to 4 steps to follow along with. I enjoyed that chicken pesto as I keep bringing it back to it because that is my go-to. And yeah, get in on the deals right now. Go to hellofresh.com/50superbeast, and you're going to use the code 50superbeast for 50% off plus 15% off in the next 2 months. Wow. That's a lot.
A lot.
Hold on. Wait, what? Go to hellofresh.com/50superbeast, and when you use the code 50superbeast, you're getting 50% off plus 15% off in the next 2 months. Like, that's just too much. That's too much percent off.
That seems like a lot of percents off.
That's so much percents off. That's a lot. Wild. Thank you, HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. What are you? Wow. All right.
I love you, HelloFresh.
Thank you. This week, the podcast is sponsored by Shopify. Cha-ching. That's the sound you hear when you make a sale on Shopify. And, you know, as I'm very want to tell you, a little while ago.
You are very want to tell me.
Yes. A little while ago, made a podcast or two, had figured out the microphones and putting the voice on the internet part of it.
Comparatively easy, actually, compared to.
And then it's like, but what about the part where you want to get a T-shirt over to somebody, right? Or what if they want one of them phone cases even? All that stuff. I don't know how to do that. And that's why Shopify is the place to go. And in fact, the podcast store is powered by Shopify. So, yeah, it's really just the best platform you can go to for helping you grow your business, revolutionize your small little thing, figuring out how to take it from a tiny little thing to something bigger as you want to handle every aspect of shipping and the metrics of what's coming in. It's an all-in-one e-commerce platform. It puts you in control of every sales channel. So if you're selling T-shirts like us or satin sheets or anything like that, the in-person POS system offers everything you need, gets you covered. And once you've reached your audience, Shopify has the internet's best converting checkout to help you turn folks from browsers into buyers. So, yeah, they're out there helping get shops installed and helping you run whatever your business needs are. It's powering 10% of e-commerce in the U.S. That's a truly global force, powering Allbirds, Rothy's, Brooklyn, and millions of entrepreneurs, every size, over 170 countries. So they've got award-winning help to help you support your business every successful step of the way. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at Shopify.
$1 a month? That's basically nothing.
Sign up for a $1 a month trial period at shopify.com/superbeast, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/superbeast to take your business to the next level today. One more time, that's shopify.com/superbeast. Cha-ching. Thank you, Shopify.
I love you, Shopify.
Last but not least, this week the podcast is sponsored by DoorDash, and it's real simple. Imagine, if you would, some pancakes right in front of you, big old stack, that stack that's like you got too many, but you know you can have a couple of them, and you'll be satisfied.
Is that like enough that I could like gorge myself on it and like feel sick and then like feel bad about myself and then be like, this was a good decision. I love it.
Yeah, the one where you never finish the stack. You know?
Yeah, and you look at it and you like both feel guilty about how many you ate, but also feel bad that you didn't eat all of them.
You know when you put that extra one that you were never going to get to the bottom of it. You knew it. Deep down in your heart, you knew it.
Oh, no.
But you scooped it anyway. And now you're staring at that fucking plate, aren't you? Right? Yeah. Well, anyways, let's get in here. Let's dive in. What's happening? Let's just grab some syrup. Oh no! There's no syrup.
You might as well just throw the pancakes in the fucking trash.
You might as well literally just throw them in the garbage, right? What's the point? Or you can grab DoorDash and get yourself some syrup delivered right when you need it, just like that. Same goes for some coffee creamer or whatever little conveniences.
Milk, dude. In my house, milk is just a constant. Where'd it go? I thought we bought milk. Did we not buy milk?
Yep.
Yeah, we did. We just used it.
And you can't. That's it. And you can't buy too much because then it'll go bad. And if you don't use it in time, we do a lot of yogurt over here. You know.
Yogurt's the big one.
Yogurt's a big one over here. We both do a lot of parfaits and get the fruits and yogurt going. So yeah, but you want to balance the amount of yogurt with making sure you get through it fast enough because it's dairy, and the moment it starts to go bad, you're dunking all of it forever. Windmilling that shit into the garbage. So, no. Make sure you can get yourself the convenience of whatever you are missing in a matter of minutes. That's where DoorDash is going to come in handy, right? Same thing goes for anything else. Burnt your last piece of toast, avocado's gone bad, hot sauce bottle is empty. You just tap the grocery delivery button, and you'll get what you need right to your door. And on top, of course, of the convenience options, you've got all your favorite restaurants and go-tos you can choose from. The regulars, the chains you like, and the mom-and-pop shops in the neighborhood. Anything that you have not explored yet, I love to go through on DoorDash and see what is around that I haven't tried out yet. So check them out.
When we came home from the hospital and Paige was all laid up and she could barely move, and I'm watching the baby, and we hit this moment of like, bro, we don't have enough diapers right now.
Damn.
So I was like, I pulled up the app and I was like, someone help me. And some nice person came and helped me.
There you go. Otherwise, just like those pancakes, baby in the trash. What are you going to do?
I'm not wrapping a towel around this guy's butt. I'm not doing it. No way.
Hey. It's a goddamn waste, right? We need our syrup, so... Anyways, look, get 50% off your first DoorDash order up to a $20 value when you use the code CastleFall at checkout. Ooh, that's a cool name. Limited
Somebody's
time off.
playing Titanfall.
Terms apply. Yeah, DoorDash has?
Has DoorDash been playing Titanfall? They would, because they have great taste.
That's 50% off up to $20, no minimum subtotal, and 0 delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and you enter the code CastleFall. Don't forget code CastleFall for 50% off your first order with DoorDash.
Love you, DoorDash.
All right. What's going on? We have already sneakily covered Kamiya and Star Wars KOTOR 2, as well as Jizz is now Jatz. So, look at that. We can chip away.
I mean, we're basically done with the news. There's definitely nothing. Oh, you back all its shit, but it doesn't matter because everyone I know is switching off their fucking engine.
Unity apologizes, tweaks the runtime install fees after the world gets mad at them. Yeah, so in an open letter, Mark Whitten basically said, I'm sorry, and yada yada into the run back. And I think the summary of it is essentially the per install fee, the fucking, the gangsters at your door, they only show up on the higher price plans. So the personal plan is not going to have that garnished amount on it. The Enterprise and Pro plans will have the per install runtime fee, but it'll be only if you hit the threshold of 1 million downloads and over $1 million in the 12-month time frame. And they're also going to make sure that the versions that this apply to are only the new long-term support versions going forward. So if
So
you're using an older version of the game of the platform, it does not apply retroactively.
Fun fact: the part where you only have to abide by any new agreement with the new version of the engine, that was actually in the TOS. That was part of the legally binding agreement that they sent out to everybody, that they kept up on GitHub, that we all know that they stealthily took down last year. But
well, it seems that we've gotten a little bit more information, because
is that true?
Yeah, I mean, look, guys, the TOS did come down, but Unity is genuinely disappointed at how the removal of the TOS has been framed across the internet.
Are they genuinely disappointed?
We removed it way before the pricing change was announced because the views were too low.
Oh, yeah?
Not because we didn't want people to see it.
So you're saying that the lawyer's office that notarized the agreement between me and the bank to buy my house, they're like, if they're sitting there in their office, be like, I never pull out Pat's mortgage to look at it. I'll just throw it away. I'll just fucking throw it away. I'll just, views on this thing are too low. Yeah, it's a legally binding contract, but I mean, fucking, who gives a fuck?
Meanwhile, that contract that gets looked at least 2-3 times a month, maybe. Oh man, this thing's doing numbers. Oh shit. Yeah, it turns out views are a metric that matter when it comes to the terms of service and the decision to keep it publicly available.
Wooly, you've worked inside QA and for companies, and we've both been following the entertainment industry our whole lives. This is the most flagrant lie.
It's really funny because looking at the account recently, it seems like the way they've been handling the fallout, which again, just anyone who's working there, fucking God bless, good luck. Your job to spin this shit is a nightmare, but you're basically,
you must be God's strongest warrior because you're getting his toughest battle.
Well, literally just be a White House secretary for this type of bullshit, right? And yeah, so the person running the Twitter account has been going like, hey, chiming in here to say this or that or whatever the case is, and just flat out lying like this is like, it's like I'm surprised you didn't run every single word by the board in this time of, in this trying time when an egg is needed.
Lies to diffuse situations are supposed to at least pass a glance. No one ever would fall for this. Ever. Terrible. It's I'm more offended at the incompetence of the falsehood than I am the falsehood.
It definitely smells of like the legal team that pulled it down. Go like, it's like, hey guys, you guys pulled it. What do we say here? And then they went, just tell them down. Look, no one was looking at it.
Just say
views were bad.
Just say that some system admin was looking through costs and didn't know what it was and canceled it. Right?
Nah, man.
Hey, what are we spending $40? I don't know. Okay, and then they canceled it, and then no one noticed.
Ratings were very low. The ratings were so low. You've never seen ratings this low. You've never seen views this low. It had to come down. I'm telling you, there was no other way around it. Yeah.
Say you were in the process of a revision and somebody thought it would be more prudent to pull it down before a new one went up, but then you got sidetracked and everybody forgot to put the new one back up. Like, there's so many fucking better. Oh my God.
Well, in any case, shout outs to the run back having a little stank of fun flung on the docket. There you go.
So I follow a lot of game dev people. I'm sure you do. A lot of indie people. This means nothing. All it seems to have done is given people the confidence to finish their current game and ship it and start learning a new engine, because
Yeah.
in nowhere in this back down do they ever say, by the way, we're committed to never changing this price again going forward.
It's literally just how do we know anything you say ever can be trusted at any given point? Like,
you can't.
And like multiple, like the ex CEO and the founder and everyone's coming out and saying like, we're sorry, and or yeah, we fucked up, and these things like that. And it's like, it's just,
there are people in this chat talking about switching over to Godot.
Yeah, so Godot is getting all kinds of attention now as a result of this, of course. And then there's the other side of the discussion, which has popped up, where people that are coming from like larger studios that go indie often will be like, well, I'm still going to use Unreal or something, if you've got the ability to afford it, of course, if you've got the access. Because essentially it was like, if you're making a game that is like that Unity or that Unreal is almost like overqualified for, it's like that's a good thing because it lets you scale up, if you want to. So there's some people that are just more comfortable in that environment anyway, and it's a whole discussion happening now. But either way, man, you've shaken the fucking tree, and like a bunch of people are just out of here because you can't trust the kind of company.
Remember that part in Star Wars
bankrupting you with its policy changes retroactively overnight?
Remember that part in Star Wars where Lando was really mad at Darth Vader because he changed the terms of the deal, and he says, yeah, I've changed it. Pray I don't alter the deal further. It's like that!
Someone pointed out that, like, I think Genshin Impact runs on Unity.
Yes, it does.
That's a free game. Like, could you...
Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail are Unity games, and we're likely part of the target for this.
Oh, man.
Right?
Just
because Genshin and Honkai, they're probably at like 1 billion downloads.
What does that check look like? Yeah, that's exactly.
Oh, and Fate Grand Order too. The Fate game on the phone is also a Unity game.
Pokemon Go, the Niantic, yeah. Like, what does that check fucking look like, right? So
it looks like a fucking lawsuit, is what it looks like. That's what it looks like. It looks like I don't want to pay it.
Yeah. Well, look, at the very least, I think the best aspect of this is that indies that were basically talking about canceling their games and or deleting them from existence can not do that while finishing up and then promptly swerving off of this in the future, but they're no longer on a time limit to burn it all before January 1st.
I have just been informed that in the past week, MiHoYo, the company that makes Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail and Honkai Third Impact, has posted a slew of job openings for engine development.
No kidding.
Rendering development engineer, engine development for console, cloud game engine development, cloud game engine development engineer, etc. So,
yeah, these are the kind of moments where if you're a big enough company, these are the kind of moments where you're like, we're making our own engine, and then that becomes the basis of a platform that, if it's user friendly enough, I suppose, or accessible enough, you can sell that. See literally Unreal, see every other licensable thing that proprietarily comes out of a game being needed for it first, and then becomes a flat platform after the fact.
I would not be shocked to see Genshin, Honkai, all of MiHoYo stuff, Pokemon, Marvel Snap, etc. all come off Unity. I would be wildly unsurprised.
Yeah, and again, indies get a chance to finish up whatever they're doing, and then, maybe start with the next project as opposed to having to kneecap the current one or worse. So
what's funny is that, like, Capcom, like how we've made fun of a lot of Japanese developers for like being obsessed with making their own engines, and then some companies have had success in using like more generalized engines, and then you have Capcom over here with the fucking Reach for the Moon shit, and like Capcom is laughing their ass off. They own their own engine 100%.
I mean, this is, to be fair, this is unprecedented, right? Not in terms
but
of
it always could have happened.
Yes. Not in terms of the names involved, but in terms of like the place that it's happening, right? On the foundation of so many games.
Some very old engineer is like screaming in an office in Osaka I told you, motherfuckers. I told you this would happen one day.
You sons of bitches. He's got a cane. He's graying out. He's still working it. He's like, the whole time. Now you're coming to old me, huh? Old Taro-san in the basement. You want me to fucking handle this shit? Fine. Oh God, he was right. Yeah.
Oh my God, the cherry on top is to like gaslight everybody with piss on their face. It's raining, man. It's raining. Nobody looked at it. Conscious was sad. Nobody looked at it. Come on.
So when you click on it, like, is there like now like a little like, do we have a little number of people viewing?
Well, you know what it needs. It needs a fucking guest book now. I came to see the Unity TOS. So
damn. All right. So yeah, we hit Unity, we hit Kamiya, we hit on the Microsoft Baldur's Gate stuff. We hit Jatz. Oh my God. We hit KOTOR 2.
There's another detail out of that So there's a lot of stuff from that internal Microsoft thing, but the most interesting thing by far is that 75% of the people who own an Xbox own the shitty Xbox.
The low end.
Yeah. So like, it's actually been really strange why they have been so obsessed with feature parity with that thing, because it sucks and holds everything back. Because it holds because 3/4 of people who own an Xbox have that.
Because when you go to the store, it's the one with the lower number on it.
It's the one that's cheaper also.
Yep. Well, that's what I mean. Yeah. You walk in, you look at the shelf, you see the Xbox, and you see the one that's affordable, and you go, okay, I'll get that one. Yep.
Someone has asked me to describe what is happening with the Payday 3. As far as I can tell, the Payday 3 situation is really funny, and that they released an online co-op shooter game that has no offline play at all, and it has been unplayable for its entire release. I think we're going on like 4 days now. Just doesn't work.
Is that what's happening?
Yeah, it just doesn't work.
Man. That's going to be a thing forever, right? Offline things that are forced online because shut up, get online. We want you online.
So I will say one thing, and I know this is obviously the game that I really like, and so, take it with a grain of salt. But remember when Endwalker had all that server shit, and it's like, oh my God, it's you can't get into play. But people were playing it. You just had to wait, right? Like
the queues were bad.
Yeah, the queues were terrible, and there were some problems where you kicked from the queue. But like when you got in, you would just play it. Mm-hmm. It wasn't completely broken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the forced online shit is really says a lot about like the importance of, like, this is a company that's like metrics or die. Like if we cannot get all the info about everything you're doing, if we can't force you to sign up for some bullshit service or whatever the fuck they got going on with their, again, offline game, they'd rather kneecap the entire project.
Do you remember Outriders?
I remember the font of the logo, and I remember a vaguely greenish blue color behind it, and some kind of not Smite characters.
So, Square Enix paid a lot of people a lot of money to stream that game's demo. And not quite as many people a lot of money to stream that game day of release. And they were all very adamant, you have to stream this game within this like 8-hour window on day of release. And so that the whole Twitch front page is Outriders. And every single person was streaming Outriders and was stuck on the goddamn main menu for all of their sponsored streams. Was the main menu. Like you'd go to the category on Twitch, and it was like 800 to 1,000 streamers sitting on that game's main menu, and they were all like timed streams. They were all like play it for 2 hours, play it for 3 hours, and it is the biggest fucking mess I have ever seen. And every time I see a game launch that's just totally unworkable for days and days and days, I think about it.
Shout outs to the time that I was sponsored to browse a series of videos that were not working. And where I just had to kind of chill and be like, well,
what was it?
That was a thing, you know. Anyone who was there remembers. We sat and watched some stuff, but there was a period of time where we couldn't, and we just kind of chilled and watched nothing for a while. And you know, it's like, hey man, we're on the clock.
All right. I showed up to do what you wanted.
I'm here. Yeah,
I was here. Not my fault. The office doors are locked.
Ready to work.
I remember interviewing for a telemarketing job, at which point I showed up and everyone was standing outside and had been for an half hour because the boss forgot to come in and unlock the building. And then they finally showed up and yelled at everyone that they had to stay an extra hour to make up for the hour they weren't there in the morning. And I just fucking walked away. I just walked. I'm like, and my dad gave me shit. He was like, didn't you go to a job interview this morning? I'm like, I'm not fucking working for that piece of shit. That's a fucking pile of fuck.
Right off.
He was like, you kids these days. I'm like, no, I'm not. No.
I mean, that's really a blessing. That's what you want to see right off the bat. You know, it tells you everything you need to know. I'm a fan of finding out everything you need to know right up front. Anyway, the other thing, I guess, and it's this folder has quite a few things in it, but the Tokyo Game Show trailers.
Oh my fucking god, that was this week, wasn't it?
Yes, and there are a lot, but you know, just in glancing over the list, there's first of all.
Can I tell a slightly personal story before we go? Hey, I love Capcom. Capcom, I love you so much. I will kiss you on the mouth. You make some of my favorite games. Capcom invited me to go down to San Francisco to play Dragon's Dogma. And I was like, you know what? I got a new baby here. I don't really feel like going down to San Francisco for a single day. I'm going to pass. And then people went and they did it. And then they came back. And I'm watching their impressions, and their impressions are, I was allowed to play it for an hour, and here's the 6 minutes of footage I'm allowed to put up. And I saw that, and I'm like, if I had gone down to fucking San Francisco and walked into a Capcom office and they would have told me you can put up 6 minutes of footage, I would have killed myself there on the spot in their office. Like,
Street Fighter was very limited. It was very limited. Yeah. Yeah.
I would have changed the trajectory of the people's lives in front of me.
Yeah, I think there was, well, at least from what I saw there was an invite for like a New York thing that was a bit closer, but still, like yeah, getting on a plane for that time frame versus a 6-hour drive. You know, a little bit more feasible, but nonetheless, that's up front. You gotta let people know that sucks. Or at the very least, like the other thing you do is like you're allowed to put out this much, but you can play for more, right? And that's what I know. For example, Project L. A lot of the people that went into Riot to go play that got to play for 2 days, I think, but they were only able to put out like I think an hour or so of footage. So
that's plenty. So yeah, we got FF7 stuff. Boy, lots of FF7, like I'm shocked. I watched like 45 minutes of FF7 Rebirth gameplay.
Sephiroth calls Cloud a puppy.
Dude, okay. Like it wasn't intense enough before. What? Okay, you played FF7 Remake. Like I made the joke about like every time Sephiroth shows up, like I feel like he wants to like whisper into Cloud's ear, like, "Would you fuck me, Cloud?" Okay. And then when Tifa shows up in the final battle, he's just like, "Get out of here! You're annoying. Ugh, gross, woman." Okay, now you've got like Cloud with big fat puppy eyes staring at Sephiroth and going, "Oh, what a little puppy!" Like that boy is fucking gay for that man.
So what's
that is a gay relationship.
Maybe my memory is a little bit like lacking. Maybe I don't, but I seem to recall that flashback of when they were first hanging out doing their missions and all that. Yeah. Being one where Sephiroth is just the cold professional.
Yes. And that is how I felt that was played.
Extremely super far ahead of this fucking little whatever. I'm barely acknowledging your existence. I'm here to do my thing, It
was relatively limited due to the Popeye arms at the time.
Yes, but the impression given was the cold professional.
Maybe I misread it. Maybe you misread it. It's possible.
Why would I even look twice to care about someone who's disposable?
But they've got the two swords, and the swords are almost changed, but not quite.
Right.
And it's like, Tifa, you're worried about Aerith. I'd be worried about something else.
More like,
more
like Seme Roth.
Okay, so okay, the game's 45 years old. I feel confident saying this. What makes that scene even funnier is that it didn't happen, and that's what Cloud wanted to happen. Like that's the part that's just like wild, where maybe. It's like
and maybe that's why we're seeing what we're seeing here, right? Yeah. Yep. Damn. What
if Sephiroth patted me on the head and called me a puppy? What if Jesus?
What if the in-canon world is exactly what the fans wanted?
Game looks fun. Game looks cool.
Segues.
Lots of stuff.
Segues. Season of segues.
fucking
okay.
Ichiban.
So
Ichiban.
That's great, right? Cloud and Ichiban rolling together on the Segway is hilarious and awesome. God bless it. Right? Genius. The edit of Sephiroth on the Segway that's super high up with the giant fucking...
Oh, yeah, the Christina made?
Oh, my God. The absolute best. My Segway is so much longer, Cloud.
Oh, my God. Oh, man.
Fuck.
Do you remember... when did FF7 Remake come out? When did that happen? FF7...
4 years ago?
Was it?
3?
2020. So, okay. So we're in what? We're 2023? Ugh. Okay, I thought we were 2022 there for a second. Okay, so it came out 3 years ago. Do you remember 3.5 years ago when we were watching the trailers for FF7 Remake and there was a big kerfuffle, lots of discussion, lots of interviews about like, hey, Nomura, Katase, you guys are going to make sure that FF7 Remake still has all that goofy, stupid shit in it, right? It's not going to be super serious, right? And they're like, oh, don't you worry. Cloud will definitely dress in drag. We got you.
Yeah.
Let's teleport to now, in which I'm watching this, and I'm like, I forgot just how much goofy, stupid shit is in Final Fantasy VII.
Clown shoes.
That game is clown shoes.
And when you've got
Did you see the fight where Mr. Dolphin helps you? Fucking Mr. Dolphin's back.
And when you've got a runtime that is now stretched out even further, Clown Shoes becomes an entire segment. You've got character development on jokes. Backstory. Yeah. No, like I think the Hell House is that extrapolation of how they treated what Hell House was to what Hell House became is just like that applied to everything is like it's in good hands. I'm good with it. The Hojo Beach moment is going to be
it's going to be like a whole thing.
It's a whole thing.
It's going to be a whole thing.
Like the a couple episodes back or whatever, it was like, oh man, they better not get rid of that. And it's like, what are you, crazy? Are you out of your fucking mind?
Oh, no. They're gonna fucking have that be a gameplay sequence in which you have to like put a fake mustache on Cloud and fucking serve him drinks to find out like what his plans are,
and then or talk to the girls and find out how disgusted they are while smiling in his direction. You know, like there's a whole. That's a bit, no question, all of it. God bless. Take your time. Take your goddamn time. Yeah. So we saw a bunch of that. There was also, as we touched on just now, a fuck ton of Like a Dragon as well. Like a 10-minute story trailer and then another 8 on top of that.
I feel incredibly conflicted about the Like a Dragon trailer because I was told don't watch that trailer, big spoilers. Mm-hmm. I then watched the trailer because I don't give a fuck. Mm-hmm. And I understand what people were saying, but I feel like it's part of the game's premise.
Okay.
Like, I feel like the basic premise of a game is not a spoiler.
I mean, what I know is America, but like that, anything beyond that, I clicked in and I started seeing some context and I was like, yeah, I'd rather dodge. Yeah. You know, and now that I have a little bit more, like when I was completely in the dark, I could watch and let the whole thing wash over me. But now that I kind of know what I'm looking at a little bit, it's actually more dangerous for me to watch. So I clicked through a little bit and then avoided it.
I feel there's VTubers in this game.
Wow.
As like main characters.
Wow.
Which is wildly appropriate. These games are topical.
And then at the same time, like in terms of spoilers or so, I think like I clicked on the Kiryu one and it's just him being emo in a bar. And I was like, oh yeah, that's it.
That's fairly consistent with the Kiryu's characterization.
There's nothing else going on. And I was like, all right, that sets the tone, you know?
Yeah, I feel like the things people warned me about were things that you would learn within the first sitting of sitting down to play the game. But I've played every single one of these fucking games. Who knows? I'm not gonna talk about it here. I do think that the story things that they're going for with Kiryu specifically are really smart in including him into this game. I think going to America is incredible. Especially Hawaii, because there's a large Japanese population on Hawaii, so Ichiban and Kiryu and them don't have to learn how to speak English, but they can have lots of I can't speak English shenanigans.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
And fucking Johnny Gat, aka Dr.Han, and Danny Trejo are gonna show up. Daniel Day Kim is gonna be there. And Ichiban's going to look at him, and he's going to be going, I am a dragon. Daniel Day-Kim, I am a dragon. Oh, I wish you understood what the fuck I was talking about. Anyway, I'm done.
That's okay. I like that for a while now there's been that little, oh my god, he's gone. He's completely gone.
Oh fuck! Oh my god! Okay. I'm gonna mute. You gotta go without me.
That's okay. That's okay. I wish I was there, but I don't know where we are. No, the thing where the meme conversation of like, man, when is Persona gonna make a game that's for kids in college or adults grown up? Which we've had that conversation here, and then it turns out it's been echoed a million times elsewhere. And then like Catherine is like, oh, here's the adults or whatever. But for the most part, like all these stories about Japan in high school and yada yada and so on. The Yakuza franchise was not at all in this space, but now by becoming an RPG and becoming an RPG about a bunch of adults being fucking
hey, here's a bunch
weirdos,
of old guys,
a bunch of old people acting like humongous weirdos and nerds and geeks.
Ichiban's
like,
in his 40s and Kiryu's in his fucking late 50s.
So Yakuza has become that RPG, right? The like, it was not an RPG before, but it just took that mantle of here's the thing you were looking for, with a bunch of adults with adult ass lives and problems being completely wacky. It's pretty hilarious that they just kind of swerved for it because like no one was taking it, you know? And of course, doing it and not taking it seriously at all were the summons of the fucking, like every summon is just this insane, like
you see Gary Buster Holmes' sister,
exactly.
her like protege, and all sorts of shit.
The crabs and like it's the perfect clips to drop on Japanese TV and have celebrities in the corner do their react faces to. Like it's exactly that, you know. Any one of those little summons could be a commercial for a product if they held up a can at the end. So yeah, fuck it. If Atlas ain't gonna do it, if no one else is going and is trying to hit that, if we're all still going for high school, then so be it. Yakuza will take the fucking adult.
It's not
RPG.
Yakuza anymore, which is I'm having a lot of trouble doing. We've moved over
Like a Dragon.
to Like a Dragon.
Mm-hmm. And a name change with a system change and gameplay. Like it's not. Yeah, it's true.
Well, actually, it's extra confusing because Like a Dragon Gaiden is actually just another Kiryu game.
Yeah, with actual combat.
But it's a side story to Yakuza 7 Like a Dragon. So, oh.
Anyway, I appreciate that. That's how we got this type of game eventually. You know. All right. So a couple other things. We saw they showed off a new battle royale My Hero game, which that's a genre that makes sense for.
Oh, I didn't see that. What's it called?
Ultra Rumble. It's a 3v3, a melee battle royale style game. You know, anime thing, but yeah, I think that if you want to go third person action on things like that, then you might as well hit that genre as well.
Motherfucker, this looks like fucking Rumbleverse.
You know,
this looks like Rumbleverse.
It's there's a whatchamacallit, there was a JoJo Last Stand, not the Last Stand, whatever it was called. I forget, but there was a JoJo battle royale we talked about some time ago, you know. But yeah, melee Royal Rumble, melee battle royale rather. That's a thing. Last Survivor.
JoJo Last Survivor.
We wanted it to be Last Stand, but it was not Last Stand, and that's why I was upset. Yes, Last Survivor. That's what it was.
Hey, how is Like a Dragon gonna keep one-upping themselves with these incredible titles? Because Yakuza 7, Like a Dragon, is like inspired, but then you have Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, but because it's infinite, there's a gigantic 8 on the fucking logo.
And then
like that's incredible.
The man who erased his name. I don't know if there's any puns on that, but
I don't know. He's Joe now.
Well, look, if Resident Evil Village figured it out, then I'm sure Team RGG can do it. Like I said, the next game will be called RE6.
Yeah, I think we both came up with that.
Yeah. All right. We saw the there's that. They showed Under Night 2. So we don't have to call it Unisys. We can just call it Under Night 2 fine.
Can we? I'm sure there's some fucked up thing we can call it.
Yes, you can call it Unisys Celeste if you want to.
So bad.
Under Night Inbirth.
I'm gonna call it that.
Unisys. But 3 new characters. Tekken showed off Fang and P3 Reload. Gunvolt is getting a rhythm game. Did not expect any noise about Gunvolt, but here we are. A lot of Japanese trailers that it's interesting because when you see the like game show, Western game show style, like where's the gameplay? It's just like a tone trailer with breathy vocals, right? So the equivalent for a Tokyo Game Show is it says PV, and then it'll be an idol song or a whatchamacallit song, whatever J-pop song, and then like a bunch of art will flow by and you'll have no idea what the game actually is. So
the Nier Automata trailer originally was like that. It was like but 4 pieces of concept art and like some soft music.
Bunch of that. What I clicked through, and I saw, what was it? Hotel Barcelona. I saw this like possible Metroidvania-esque thing. Cool character design for the main character. Movement and combat looked a little unfinished, but it seemed to be a thing. Character designs were interesting at the very least. Sandland. A bit more of that as well.
I'm kind of unclear as to what that is. I mean, it's a Toriyama game, but
it's and it looks great. I'm not exactly 100% sure either. I feel like I read a chapter of it, but maybe I forgot. But there's a character in that is just Dabura. That isn't, but is.
I mean,
right?
We can get into the same conversation we always do about Toriyama having a highly limited art palette.
Yeah, Master Roshi is just God in Dr. Slump, and there's a not Yamcha character as well. So
how many Vegetas do you need? Like,
yeah. No, but I think Beelzebub's dad is not. I don't think he's. No, guys, I don't think he was confirmed to be actually Dabura, right? I thought that was not. I thought it was just like it's the same design, but we didn't actually link and confirm that it's the same. Anyway, Dragon's Dogma 2.
Dude,
bunch of footage of that.
Okay. As the one of 2 people here that is I would say an expert on Dragon's Dogma, that looks like the game that they wanted to make and then had to put out Dragon's Dogma. This looks like Dragon's Dogma, but more. And
I
they
thought that
showed
was
off
Dark Arisen.
No.
Oh
no, because the Dragon's Dogma got cut in half in development, and then it got cut in half again to ship. So like the Dragon's Dogma we got was like a pale imitation of what it was supposed to be. And then they showed off a bunch of really, really normal shit and cat dudes. And then they showed off a new class where you have a fucking staff that you use like Darth Maul that you can also use telekinesis to do magic bullshit with. And knowing that there's a bunch of zany ass fucking classes from Dragon's Dogma Online, oh, it's gonna be so good. Oh, it's gonna be so goddamn good. It looks exactly what it's one of those things like, okay, people who play Dragon's Dogma, do you like what you see? It's exactly what you were supposed to see. It was exactly what it was supposed to be. It looks the same, but more. And more of the more.
Yeah, I remember how much y'all were bigging up DA. Does this... I wonder, like, does the itch that it scratches... how is there any overlap with, like, new Elden Ring content at all?
No.
Okay.
There is... Okay, here's the itch that that Dragon's Dogma scratches. I want to be a Devil May Cry character and fight things from Monster Hunter.
Nice. Okay.
That is what Dragon's Dogma is. That is a really fucking specific niche.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's
I want to play it.
the first demo's combat definitely like was far from what you just described, but if it ended up in that place, that's pretty sick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, I kind of there's a lot, but I kind of just like stopped on those. I don't know if there's anything else.
Nothing of note.
Yeah,
I am aware that
P3 Reload.
I'm aware that you know, we were like, oh boy, this holiday season is it's crazy. Ooh, thank goodness it'll be calm next year. No, Like a Dragon and FF7 Rebirth coming out right next to each other. Get fucked.
I can't wait for some random time in the future, out of nowhere, apropos of nothing, while no one was looking.
Oh, and Persona 3.
Yeah, P3 Reload. Yeah, I just mentioned. Yeah. I can't wait for, while no one's paying attention, Hi-Fi Rush 2 chair shot to the back of the fucking head to just drop in on the middle of some season of highly anticipated shit coming out.
Did you see the prototypes for Hi-Fi Rush?
No.
So they put out some of the very first prototypes for Hi-Fi Rush back when they're like crash test dummies. And it's all great box. It's really fascinating. And the most interesting thing by far is that Chai's run is as is in the very first prototype.
Nice.
Like that was the first thing they nailed, was he's going to run like this.
To the music. Mm-hmm. Very cool. Yeah. No, I want that sequel to come out of fucking nowhere. Don't even tell us. Do the exact same thing a second time. Okay. Well, in any case, that's pretty much that. I think, yeah, again, there's some Aki stuff, but, you know, we'll see that in a couple days' time. So
yeah, that'll be
TGS,
2 days from now.
Do your thing. Let's take some letters.
Hey, if you want to send in a letter, send it to castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com. That's castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com.
We've got one coming in from... Still on the bit. I saw Danny Trejo.
I'm going to finish this podcast and just sob into my shirt laughing.
I saw
I can't like
I saw a picture of Danny Trejo in the game, but I didn't know that Johnny Gat was also in there.
Also, he also played a character named Dr.Han on The Good Doctor.
The Good Doctor.
Yeah. The Good Doctor is that doctor that has the severe autism. That's the premise of the show, by the way.
Okay.
Is that the character has autism.
Okay.
And Dr. Han is like, you can't be a good doctor because you have autism. Dr. Han is the villain, by the way. That's probably why he's going to be a villain in Like a Dragon, because he played the evil Dr. Han.
So the show is about how you can't be a surgeon if you have autism?
No, it's how he's the best surgeon because he has autism.
Mm-hmm. Is the Good Doctor any good?
Heard that people with autism do not like that show.
I thought the correct answer would be he's the best. No? Okay. Well, maybe try One Piece. It's great. I had a number of people, by the way, basically go, hey, yo, like, it's not just the live action show. Like Luffy is
I was gonna
like
go a different way.
no. I had a number of people go like Luffy is autism coded in all versions of it, and it's like that's actually a thing, you know. It's potentially intentional, and it's like, wow, okay, well, there you go. Then they, you know, the adaptation is on point.
So what you're saying is that when Luffy is standing there and
That's
you're
super
either
cool.
like, you can't be a pirate, and he goes, I am a pirate. I am a pirate. You can't
dissuade him.
I can't do this.
You can't dissuade him. Yeah. If that's just carrying the energy that the source material has, then it's like, you know, they fucking got it, man.
I gotta send Wooly the clip after this so he knows why I'm about to vomit on the floor laughing.
Okay, I am a blank.
I am a surgeon. I am a surgeon.
I am a surgeon. Okay, I can feel it.
I am a surgeon, Dr.Han.
I can feel it. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
hey, emails.
Yeah, no. It's been a long time since Tropic Thunder. You know, you gotta...
Dude, Tropic Thunder gets funnier like every day. Every day. Like, that movie lays out the rules for specific representation. And then other things just ignored it. Like, that's a movie that got away with the fucking character in full blackface for the whole movie.
Sure
You're
did.
not going to listen to these people?
Sure, and I mean... I've said it before, but from when last time I checked the notes, most black people fucking thought that shit was hilarious. I
have yet to encounter a black person who thought Tropic Thunder was anything but hilarious.
I get, you know, there is no monolith, but like, you know, the message board says, yeah, that shit, that fucking hit.
Is Ben Stiller's portrayal of Simple Jack retroactively more offensive than Robert Downey Jr. in blackface?
I don't know. I don't have the measuring stick for these things. It's a debate. There's a debate you could have.
Feel qualified to have the debate.
Neither do I, but like, you know, there's some people that you want to talk to somebody from.
We're gonna need somebody from both groups.
Yes,
to hash it out.
Hash it out. That's it. You know. But there is something that is hilarious every time like a show or piece of media comes out that's like, we're gonna tackle representing this or that, and then everyone from said group is like,
stop.
Oh God,
stop.
Could you just stop, please?
Just don't.
Yeah. Alrighty. Here's one, and it's coming in from...
Because RE5 Remake is coming up. And people they've asked me a couple times, like, what do you think they should do? And I'm like, I think it would be really brave of them to make that game exactly as is.
Just look, man.
That'd be so brave.
I played a Mass Effect mission, and I was like, what the fuck is happening right now? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what was happening. That was crazy. We can communicate with the Geth. Did you know? What? Is that how that works? Okay.
It is.
Anyways, we got
any good emails this week?
Yep. We got one coming in here from Tom. He says, "Dear Willie and Pat, besides the video game crash of 1983, what would you call the worst or most disappointing year for games?" That's pretty good.
The year PS3 came out.
There's a 1998 that we always talk about, and there's a couple others like that. We're currently experiencing a pretty good year. But for the bad. I feel like there's a window, like, it's not, I don't know about the exact year, but there's a window of like 2013 Street Fighter Cross Tekken into like 2014 PT.
Yeah, you're talking about the 7th generation. You're talking about the 7th generation of video games.
Street Fighter Cross Tekken and PT.
Yeah, no, we just had the same answer. We both just said the same thing.
but like not just because a gen lasts more than a couple years, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to. He asked about a year. I'm trying to nail it down to.
No, that period fucking sucked ass.
I'm
right
trying
when they were going gonzo bananas with the fucking passes and the used game
ownership, used games. Yeah, I'm trying to nail it down to a 12-month period, somewhere halfway between 2013 and
somewhere in there was the worst.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking terrible.
Yeah. We got one coming in from Eric who says, "Hey, Pat and Wooly, the karmic dice system in BG3 revived a debate in D&D about whether DMs should ever lie about their rolls to protect players from the massive strings of bad luck. On one side, people say it's not fun to have your whole party killed due to consecutive bad rolls, while others say the randomness is part of the game. Learn to live with it. What do you think?"
Those are both accurate, but DMs should lie. 40 minutes into your fucking playthrough, somebody fireballs and kills the entire party, so you have to re-roll everything. That's bullshit.
I think a good DM will have the ability to like roll with the punches and kind of make something interesting out of what you get. But I think what the DM's job should be to know your party, know your friends, and kind of know the group a bit and feel out if that's the right call to make. It should never be off the table, right? You should definitely say that, like, no, sometimes you can flourish, exaggerate, and do stuff to help make the experience a bit more fun. But whether you have a group of friends that's down with like rolling in the failure and turning it into something wonderful, a disco-esque group of people that will, flounder and make something more amazing out of the failure, is one group versus another kind that's kind of just going to be sad about it and maybe not have as much fun with that. I think you have to feel that out.
It's two different views of what the dungeon master is supposed to be. Some people view it as the arbiter of a law in the campaign, like the rule man, whereas others, I believe correctly, view the DM as the facilitator for a good experience. The DMs have a screen so that they can hide shit. Yeah. One of the goofiest things I ever heard about in D&D was the idea of just rolling fake dice that don't do anything at random.
That's good.
Why not? Because that makes the party that's interesting.
Vibe curator is absolutely the deal, and you need to know, one, who you're dealing with, and two, how much did you plan for the fail routes? How much do you have there? Do you have a group of people that can? Well, I'm just repeating myself. Yeah. It's that, absolutely. Lying should never be off the table.
I mean, one of the very first things in the player's handbook and the Dungeons Master's handbook is that the rules on the paper are suggestions, and that they are just there to help you and your buddies have a good time. There's absolutely no reason that you can't homebrew your own personal rule or change a scenario so that it's more fun for the party, or change the description of something. Like, there's absolutely no, like someone in the chat just mentioned, it's called a guide. It's a handbook. It's not a fucking chiseled in stone manual.
There's it's like you roll for every action you do, and they roll for every action that the world does, right? Like, so yeah, you can.
I'll take it. Here's an example, right? So the Baldur's Gate 3 voice cast actually recently did a D&D session on a show called High Rollers, which they did 2 Twitch streams of them doing a D&D campaign as their characters, right? The first thing that happened was they did a combat against some spirits, which they performed abysmally. No, I don't think anyone rolled higher than like a 5. Like they're botching it really bad. And so the DM, I think, very obviously went, "Hey, someone came in to save you," and then hand waved away all the enemies because it doesn't look like you guys are actually gonna fucking beat them, right? Like if they were doing that show and that party had to actually fight all of those enemies, they would have lost.
So,
And that's not very fun at all for the first hour of your game.
but if you're setting up a game of Kingdom Death Monster and you fight the lion and half of you get murdered outright.
Well, Kingdom Death Monsters is an antagonistic board game.
That's the point, you know? So there's no safety net on that. Like when what you roll is what you get, because exactly, dying is par for the course, and at that point it's time to take on a new villager because like there's a system in the game for having to lose your progress and restart, you know? Not quite the same situation, but a D&D game where you make a character for fucking an hour and then you craft a whole backstory and you have a whole thing.
And they die.
Fucking curse splat.
And that's when Landfill 2 shows up, man.
Face first onto the spikes, you know? Oh, God. What was... Oh, yeah, it was the Mario movie animated. Just Mario trips on the first fucking thing and just slowly impaled. Yeah. All right. Last one. Let's take from No Name Given. Hello, Grimace and Hamburglar. An inordinate number of RPGs.
I'm the Hamburglar, right?
I'll take Grimace. I like purple.
I like hamburgers.
Wait, wasn't there something... What did they confirmed what Grimace was, right?
He's a fucking freak. His milkshake kills you.
He's a taste bud.
Is he a taste bud?
He's a giant taste bud. Yep, they confirmed it.
I think it's really strange how Grimace went from McDonald's villain to just another part of the menagerie of fast food freakazoids.
Wait, was he a villain?
Yeah, that's why he's Grimace.
Ah.
Because it's like, wait, why is one of your fast food mascots the face you make when you eat dog shit?
Well, again, Hamburglar is clearly a villain as well. That's,
he steals hamburgers. Yeah.
Yeah, no, 2 years ago, they confirmed that Grimace is a giant taste bud.
Weird. That's fucking weird.
Y'all didn't hear about it?
Why is he purple? Was he fucking drinking lean?
Yeah, man. Grimace came to a fucking party. Grimace is getting turned. That's what it is.
There's nothing you even fucking eat at McDonald's is purple,
man. Purple. There's nothing purple. Yeah, there might be Grape Crush. Back in the day, there used to be Grape Crush.
Really? I didn't know about that.
I want to say there. I think there was. Yeah. I used to like Grape Crush a lot. Anyway, an inordinate number of RPGs seem to either start good, reach a peak in the middle, and then fall apart in the final act. And this applies to all kinds. If the game has talking and also combat, balance seems to go out of whack and skew towards the combat in the last third. Plot seems weird and abstract, and the focus is taken away from actual characters. Many final dungeons are god-awful. There are exceptions, like FF6 or so, but there are so many examples across time and subgenre that I can't ignore the trend. VTMB, Earthbound.
That's Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines.
Planescape, Torment, FF15, FF3, Fallout 3 are great games that slog to the finish because they don't stick the landing.
Fucking Pathfinder Kingmaker is like one of the worst final dungeons I've ever played in any game.
Note that some of these stories have good endings, but the last part of the actual game sucks to play. Even
Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 end badly also.
Even FF9 has an amazing moment that probably should have been quickly followed with an ending, but then it sort of trudges along for another 5 hours. What do you think is going on here? Man.
It's really hard.
Persona, just... Whew. There's always that bit. There's always that bit where you're like, it's been time for the credits, you know?
So I think I understand the reason for this, but this is armchair game design from somebody who's not a game designer or made a games ever. I believe there's an issue with these narrative experiences compared to them as interactive mediums. The climax slash denouement for a story means that ideally the height of action should not necessarily be the height of the narrative. However, as you get further into a RPG in which you are having to fight your ass off all the time, the climax of the narrative should also be simultaneous to the climax of the action. So what ends up happening is, well, the final dungeon should be the biggest test of your abilities, and it should be the most complicated, difficult part of the game.
The exam.
Except usually by the time you get there, you don't actually care about that part of the game anymore, and you're actually just wanting to see what happens to your party and what happens to the world and what happens to the story. So what ends up happening is the frustrations from having difficulties in the final moment are compounded because they're stopping you from finding out what happens to your characters.
Yes. I would also say that if in Persona's case, I'm reminded of how there's a calendar showing you that you know exactly how long you have to wait. There's a deadline at this point, and there's like, I guess, X weeks of cleanup you have to do, but there's gonna be a unavoidable amount of just like conversations that don't matter, wrap-ups to like smaller minor relationships when something big and looming is pending and it's right there. There's gonna be like I've talked a bunch about the whole this is how we say for a while, like the P4 and P3 had it bad, but like
P4 is ridiculous. You've solved the mystery, and now go do 25 levels of a fucking dungeon before you can fight the final boss.
But like 5 was the one where I remember like I was actively like I was actually done and satisfied completely, while that last bit just kept stretching out, you know? And it's usually because, like you said, there's that exciting moment, right? Be it the villain, the reveal, the heist, all of that stuff, and you lose that, you deflate after that point, and then the energy kind of just like starts to wane, and then those highs slowly fade off. I know it's not an RPG, but like just because because it stands out as such a, just the impact of how sudden and good it was the God of War remake, the God of War 2019 ending, right? The way that played out, and then you just do it.
Yeah. That game has an actual denouement, which most games don't have.
Like, I'm still like impacted, and I still think about how good that finale was.
It reminds me a lot of Full Metal Alchemist, in that Full Metal Alchemist has this bombastic, huge action ending, and then it has like a chapter or two of like, okay, so here's everybody going on with their lives, and here's what they're up to, and here's what their plans for the future is. It's like a nice little bookend.
And I know that, like, depending on how long a game is too, like there can be a thing where for some people they're like, I don't want to say goodbye to these characters, and it's sad, and I want to spend more time with them. But you got to kind of balance that. I think you have to really like, it's in a game where you can choose to go spend more time with somebody versus like it's forcing it on you or so. I start to get upset with games that start moving that wall away, like the Simpsons couch gag, you know? And then in the end, I think back on the game and I'm like, oh yeah, I did like that game. But then when I recommend it to somebody and then they go, but what about this part? And I go, oh my God, right. Fuck. I almost deleted that part from in my brain because it was like, there's quality, there was, and then there was quality again, you know? It becomes Triforce pieces in your brain.
It reminds me, like, Yakuza 7 Like a Dragon is one of my favorite RPGs of all time, but it has like this pacing problem so bad that if I was like reviewing it, I would have like knocked a point off the fucking score. You play like 7, 8, I forget how many chapters, you play a bunch of chapters of that game and you're having a great time and you're playing Dragon Quest with Ichiban basically, and then the game stops and goes, hey dude, do you want to grind your ass off in a gigantic battle arena and do like 40 stages of increasingly hard enemies? No? Well, then you're going to get your ass kicked by the next chapter because you won't be high enough level. So do it.
Go grind. Yeah.
Like, I did it, and I did all of it, and then got there and still felt underleveled. Like, it is wild. It feels like they cut a whole chapter from the game.
You were talking about how FF16 carries the 14 formula of like big bombastic boss fight followed by slow
Busy work.
fucking busy work and downtime.
Busy work.
16, when it dropped that bit in Dhalmekia, I forget the part, but there's a line that actually makes fun of the fact that you're now doing busy work. Like right when you meet that the girl who and the brother that are like, you're gonna take care of the orphan kids or
your
so.
passport orphanage shit or
yeah.
yeah.
Right around the passport part, there's an actual line someone says in the game that's like literally making fun of the fact that you're off to do a bunch of like little trivial nonsense, you know. Yeah,
that is the worst part of the whole game. That passport section in that tiny little area that's stopping you from doing the coolest thing ever.
I can what makes it a bit more bearable is when you're in a new environment. So at the very least, you're like, well, I've never seen this area before. Around every corner or whatever is let's go talk to some people and see what's happening in a new zone. You know, like you can give reasons to explore a new zone and that in and of itself with a bit of busy work is not too bad. But when you know that you're in a downtime part and you're like, no, we're committed to this length. Like, I don't know what you're looking at in the playtest metrics, you know, with what players need or what, but it feels as if you're like, no, we need exactly 3 hours of boring before we start getting exciting again.
I think that putting in a little nudge and a wink at like, haha, this stuff sucks in games, doesn't it? Doesn't work when you're still doing it. Right? Like having a character going, yeah, I know it's really annoying to go get 5 claws. They can't then immediately send you out to go get 5 claws.
Right.
It just makes you even more annoyed because you're like, well, wait, what the fuck? They know. I don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that ending thing. It fucking.
Yeah, games end badly. It's why it's very specifically why when I talk about games that I've beaten on the podcast or on my show, I always make a really specific mention of the game actually ends really well. Because it is so rare for anything to stick the landing.
Because what also
Hi-Fi Rush ends really well.
Because once we entered like that like 360 generation, I want to say, like a little bit past that HD era, we started to enter a realm where games would have the fucking insane ass intro, the vertical slice somewhere in the middle, and the ending, and then they would just fill for fucking time in between. Right?
I will never forget, and I know I've said it 100 times, but I will say it again. I will never forget the vertical slice for Gears of War 2 was what they decided to put in as the last level of the entire game. The vertical slice that they showed off at E3 of Gears of War 2 is the final level in the game.
Damn.
And it is if you saw the demo at E3 and you get there, it is the most deflated shit in the world. Because you now know it's the final level. And you're like, oh, well, what's the final boss going to be? A turret? That's right. It's going to be a turret.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, man. You see, the moment when you play a game from that era and, like, you finish the intro and you see the exact moment the budget turns off. You see it. Like, the last cutscene little plays out or the walk and talk or whatever it is. And then you get into what is now going to be the plain-ass, regular, low, like, all the animations, everything, every conversation, all the voice acting even probably goes away. We drop into the fucking side quest system for the next 20 hours. Fuck, man. Yeah. There you go.
Good podcast this week.
Sure.
Have a good week, everybody.
Oh,
we're not done? Fuck. Shit.
No. You know what? I just, you know what? I was gonna ask about the good doctor, but I think I'm good.
Ask
No.
You know what? You know what? You just look at that clip and you'll know everything you need to know.
Everything I need to know.
You will know everything you need to know.